touch your face.
But that's the only way. I mean, if a person is truly blind, and if they want to know what somebody looks like, I mean, they might have a general idea based on what they sound like, but unless you feel them, I mean, like feel their facial features. Not trying to get kinky here, Stu.
I mean, maybe. I mean, probably, yeah, but I just don't like going around feeling people's faces. It's just really awkward.
Right, but I mean, so that's the interesting part. So I was right. You've never felt Bonnie's face, you've never felt Angelo's face either,
No.
or Dominic for that matter.
Who's Dominic?
So
I don't even know who Dominic.
Yeah, whoever that is. You don't even know who he is. So how could you have felt his face?
Exactly.
I mean, assuming he's a he. I mean, I don't want to mess up his pronouns. But
well, what about one of those those things kids used to play with that you can put your hand up against it and it pushes all the pins out, and then you get like the features. I wonder if you could just like let Bonnie put her face in one of those, and then you can feel the pins and not have to like touch the face.
That'd be interesting.
You just walk around and be like, "Hey, please put your face in this so I can see what you look like."
Yeah. Oh, okay. So isn't that more weird than just asking someone if you can touch their face? Because I'm blind, like I'm blind, and it would be. I would at least like to know what you look like.
Both would be weird to me because I don't like to get that close and personal to strangers or people.
Well, yeah, it is Bonnie. You don't want to get cooties.
Oh, man.
Riley, did you just say that?
Bro.
Wait a minute. I didn't even get a chance to finish what I was trying to ask Riley. So how do you envision? I didn't say vision. I said envision. See what I did there? How do you envision what Bonnie looks like and we could pick on somebody other than Bonnie, but why pick on somebody else when you can pick on Bonnie? How do you envision her if you have, never felt her?
I
that we know of.
I don't really worry about things like that, honestly.
I should confer. Wait a minute. Before I assume something, I should speculate. So you've never felt Bonnie, right?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I've touched her arm so she could guide me, but that's about it.
Just her arm, though?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, after Free Talk Live is kind of a patent place. There's all kinds of, stuff going on. So, we don't know. But anyway, so how do you envision Bonnie?
I don't actually. I don't worry about it.
Well, that you don't worry about it. So how do you deal with that? Because I can't even stand it. Like if you guys are on the radio, and so I'm sure that 15 years ago when I heard whoever was on Free Talk Live back then, I would look, wherever possible to match a face with a voice. I do it all the time. I just did it 5 minutes before I called your radio program.
That's kind of weird, David. I've been listening to you call Free Talk Live since 2013.
And none of us have never seen you.
And
well, no, Rich.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, Riley. I think that one almost slipped by me. That almost got by me.
Which one?
Well,
Yeah.
Riley said he's never seen you, and I almost just let it slide. I almost just didn't register it. Yeah, I did. I almost didn't.
That one either.
That was like a diving catch, like over the fence, like trying to snag and steal the home run.
I don't know what David looks like, and I'm not real curious.
I don't know.
To find out either.
When I found out what Mark Levin actually looked like, I was devastated.
Really? What does he look like?
Well, not what he sounds like. He definitely has a voice for radio. Or the face for radio.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know what that even means.
It means he sounds a lot better than he looks. He looks like a little goblin man.
See, now there's an argument for doing what I do, because to me, Mark Levin looks exactly what he sounds like. So if all of these years you would have been trying to match faces...
I was raised not around a bunch of... I didn't know anybody with those that talked like that. I grew up in Southern Oregon around like a bunch of tweakers and cowboys, and so like I heard him on the radio. I didn't know what people like that sounded. Maybe today I would say he sounded the way he looks, but when I first saw him, I was just like blown away. Same thing with like Rush Limbaugh. I was like, he's so ugly. I just can't believe he's that ugly. Because I just equated being famous with being attractive, because I grew up watching TV or whatever, and they don't really put ugly people on TV like that. But I was just astounded with like, oh, hey, this guy's famous, but he's ugly. I didn't know ugly people could be famous. I didn't know that was allowed. I think that was because I make these revelations as a kid. Like I look at the back of my great grandparents' Mark Levin book, and I go, "That's what he looks like." I have to listen to this guy on the way to school every day.
Oh man!
But God, horrific. It's like Shel Silverstein. Huh. You ever look at him in the back of the book? Yeah, horrifying, man.
Weird looking dude. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe it's gonna be blind.
Well, this has been Free Talk Live. There will be another show tomorrow, so you can listen then. And thanks for listening tonight. Like I said, this has been Free Talk Live. Peace.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 13th through the 16th for the 8th annual Fork Fest at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Fork Fest is a fork of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which has sold out in recent years. Fork Fest happens the weekend before the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Fork Fest is decentralized, which means that there's no ticket cost and no one is in charge. All you have to do to join the fun is reserve your camping site, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 13th through the 16th. You can find out more at the unofficial website, forkfest.party. You can also connect with other attendees on the Forkfest Telegram and Matrix chat rooms, as well as the Forkfest Forum. You can find links to those at forkfest.party. We hope to see you there June 13th through the 16th. Forkfest.party. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann with the Week in Review. New American tariffs of up to 12.5% on 60 of the country's trading partners took effect this week, covering virtually all goods imported into the United States. The duties imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act replace a global 10% tariff that expired on Friday after reaching its statutory time limit, and they are designed to stand on firmer legal ground after the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's earlier tariff regime in February. The administration says that new levies target countries that have failed to prevent goods made with forced labour from entering global trade. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
I'm sure they will be challenged, but this is a slightly stronger legal basis than the way Donald Trump previously tried to introduce tariffs. They're being imposed primarily under Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act.
Andy Burnham was formally appointed British Prime Minister this week by King Charles III, becoming the 7th person to hold the office in just over a decade. In his first speech outside No. 10 Downing Street, the new Prime Minister pledged approximately $457 million in new funding to tackle homelessness and promised what he called a circuit breaker for Britain. Ollie Barrett in London says the new Prime Minister used his first Downing Street address to try and inject optimism into his vision for the country, something he and his allies believe was missing under his predecessor.
Andy Burnham trying in that speech outside Downing Street to inject some hope, some optimism, some positivity, not just into his message, but in his vision for the UK in the months and years ahead. He and those around him feel that that was sorely lacking.
The death toll from the Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo reached 999 earlier this week, with nearly 2,500 confirmed cases recorded since the virus emerged in May. The World Health Organization and the Africa Centres for Disease Control and Prevention are supporting the DRC government's response, but the outbreak is spreading rapidly across 5 provinces in the east of the country. The DRC's previous deadliest Ebola outbreak, which began in 2018, killed around 2,300 people over 2 years, but the current outbreak has reached comparable levels in just 2 months. Chris Ochimaringa reports from Kinshasa.
Now, the DRC had its worst Ebola outbreak in 2018. That outbreak went on for 2 years, and there were about 2,300 people who died. But this latest outbreak, which is caused by a rare strain known as Bundibujo, has only gone on for 2 months, and we are told that there are now 1,000 people who have died. So that has caused a lot of concern in the DRC and the neighboring countries.
Protesters gathered across India on Friday as the youth-led Cockroach Janta Party has called for demonstrations in every district demanding the resignation of the Education Minister over the NEET exam paper leak scandal. The Indian government has deployed 20 companies of Central Reserve Police to the capital, and Delhi Metro has shut at least 16 stations as crowds swell near the main protest site at Jantar Mantar. The movement has rejected the government's offer of talks, saying its core demand for the minister's removal has not been addressed. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The numbers at Jantar Mantar, which is just a few meters away from where I am, they are starting to swell up again, and this comes as the Cockroach Janata Party, which is the youth-led movement, they have called for a nationwide protest against the question of paper leaks, but also mainly demanding the resignation of India's education minister. They have released pamphlets to their supporters online saying that in every district of India they should be organizing some kind of demonstration, and they've also published a list of so-called do's and don'ts, what to do during a protest, emphasizing that the protests need to remain peaceful.
And finally, the European Union has reached agreement on a 21st Russian sanctions package. It's a watered-down measure amid concerns from Greece over the economic impact of a full ban on the transport of Russian liquefied natural gas. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
The EU's Foreign Affairs Chief Kaja Kallas has described the sanctions package as the largest in the 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. 218 listings in total, including banks, crypto operators, shadow fleet vessels and military industrial entities. This 21st sanctions package was floated in early June, but's been held up amid concerns from Athens over a ban on the transport of Russian LNG. A compromise has been reached. An oil price cap set by the G7 is set to be in place for another year, but exemptions are in effect for companies seeking to transport Russian energy to third nations. Formal approval is still needed from the EU's 27 member states.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann, and that was the Week in Review.
A report published this week found that a growing number of Americans are being forced to make ends meet by collaborating on songs with Miami-based rapper Pitbull. Citing rising income inequality and a turbulent job market, the report found many U.S. citizens moonlighting as recording artists, mixing drum beats, and guest starring on tracks for the Latin American producer.
It's exhausting, between being part of Pitbull's entourage anytime he's on a club tour and mixing new hooks for him every few nights. I barely see my wife anymore. It's not like I want to do another remix with Avicii, but we really need the money. Okay, sure. I need to get back to work.
In a groundbreaking find, paleontologists this week unearthed the earliest known dinosaur stickers on record. Reportedly discovered in a box labeled Greg's Room, the excavated remains of the reptile adhesives include such stunning specimens as a Triceratops featuring the words Dinos Rock, an Apatosaurus sticker, and the extremely rare puffy kind.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Kahuna. Richie Rich.
Oh, sorry, Mark. I did it again. Sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
Mark Edge remotely.
And there is lots of things to talk about, luckily, today. I felt like last week I was like, man, Riley and I have like no material to talk about, but, well, we have
I
a Rich
post
Rich
so
here.
much extra show prep in the host group. You guys could have picked anything you wanted.
I think
Just roll
we
with
did,
it.
but sometimes
Okay.
I worry that you've already covered something and I won't know. Okay.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I should just, oh, well, we have more different things. Different,
Read the
like,
show
points of
notes.
view
It's
and
like
stuff.
when you go to a
Yeah.
restaurant and there's like 5,000 items on the menu and you're like, I can't make a decision.
That's
Or
just
when
because
you-
she's a girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you have a whole closet of clothes and you're like, I have nothing to wear. But this week there's lots of things to talk about, including one of Mark's favorite topics, time zones. But
Who needs them?
But we do have a caller on the line, so I'm gonna go to the phones. We have Dave Ridley in Colorado on Free Talk Live from RidleyReport.com. Dave Ridley, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Have you guys ever heard of the Cyber Olympics?
No, I don't think so.
This is like, you know how the sports is just covered with stories of he ate this drug and he took this pill and he wasn't supposed to inject that. And it's like, if you're going to be a
Injected peanut butter.
professional athlete,
Did you say
gotta submit
Cyber
to
Olympics or Steroid Olympics?
Cyber Olympics?
Okay.
So I'm talking about the normal athletic world. It's like, well, you have to submit to surveillance and make sure that you didn't eat a thing of a bubble, and you got to make sure that you didn't. Well, the Cyber Olympics is the opposite. It's like, okay, yeah, just tack on an artificial leg and let's see how fast you can run.
That sounds like the
Isn't
Paralympics.
that, yeah, the thing that Richie Rich talked about. That,
Well, no,
what was
we
it called?
covered the enhanced games, which
Oh.
is the steroid Olympics, which is why I
okay.
wanted to make sure I heard Dave correctly. Like a couple of months ago, they had the enhanced games, which were athletes on performance enhancing drugs competing, trying to break world records for money.
Yeah, okay. So when I call it the Cyber Olympics. You may be right. I may have the name wrong. I'm not super familiar with it. I was just
Well, they
mentioning
weren't
it as a
tacking on artificial limbs. They were
Okay.
just taking performance enhancing. The artificial limbs, that's the Paralympics. That's handicapped people with bionic feet.
The Cyber Olympics is it's saying that it's from Cyber Chase, the online game and kids show.
It's a video game Olympics.
Let me see if this is the wrong one. I'll keep looking. Global Cyber Olympics is different. My bad. I clicked on the second instead of the first one that popped up. So Cyber Olympics instead of like it drops the .org, but it's still loading. Sorry.
Okay.
I was about to tell you what it is. Almost
There
there.
is a prosthetic that you can put like on your legs, just regular legs, and that thing will help you to walk, say, climb a mountain or something like that. It will help you run faster. It'll do a variety of things. It's basically like an extra set of hamstrings.
Whoa. Okay, this
Okay.
is an old website.
That sounds like it's also useful for people who have trouble walking.
The first thing that popped up on cyberolympics.org was that it's postponed due to COVID-19. So I'm pretty sure this is.
Oh, that's way old.
Not what he's talking about.
Yeah, so this is it's more it's just I'm just trying to make a point here that there's this idea that maybe you should not punish people for making themselves better, and so along those lines there is something a little bit more tangible that's going on called the Lumera Film Festival. So instead of punishing people for using AI in their films, the idea is to invite all the people to use whatever you want, make a film, no camera required, and submit it in this film festival for a $100,000 reward.
Okay. I'm on. I don't care about AI in film. Like I'm not.
If it makes it better and actually does.
Well, but here's the thing. Like I watch a lot of movies, and therefore I watch a lot of bad movies with like a lot of bad CGI, right? And it's because they don't have the budget to do it right, and so you kind of just go, I'm going to suspend a little bit of disbelief here while this happens,
Yeah.
right? And I think even like the Spice Girls movie, Spice World, right? There's a scene in there
I've
where they
seen that
jump.
since I was a kid.
Okay, but there was a scene in there where they jumped the bus over a bridge, and they didn't have the budget to jump a bus over a bridge.
Yeah.
So they cut to this model of like this little toy bus jumping over the bridge, and then they go back to the movie. And, you
And
go
is
like,
it like so
"That's-
bad that it's almost a joke? Or
It's absolutely a joke.
Oh, okay, good.
Right, it's
I was like,
absolutely a
that's
joke. If you
bad.
find that scene, it's absolutely a joke. They weren't pretending like, oh, this is the big
That's great,
CG
actually.
moment.
Yeah.
Right. But like sometimes it's just not in the budget.
Mhm.
Right. And so if AI comes along and allows these not Hollywood, but side filmmakers do better with their craft and get good at something, right? And lets them have a career or a job or make some side money or a passion project. Like, I'm for it, right? Why would you stop them from doing it? Like, it's not for Hollywood to do unless it makes it better. But even then, right, when CGI came along, the people are like,
People were
practical
complaining.
effects, right? I don't want to see CGI. I want them to
I want the
waste the
Star
money.
Wars people with the clay heads and stuff.
Right, I want practical effects. It's just another migration from that area where it can it do it better than CG? Maybe, we'll see.
I
It's
think
new.
you're right that there will be a time in the future where obviously everything's done with AI. That's the way to do it. But like right now, when I see some AI effects in whatever way, the art or that kind of thing, I'm just like, ugh. I don't know. Like I don't know why I feel that way.
Some, yeah.
But I do.
It's an emotional response.
I can tell you a large part of why you feel that way, and that is because AI, at least as of 6 months ago, is very difficult to make a sequence with AI or to make consistent characters. So, so you wind up with all
Its
these
memory's
images. that are
bad.
it's just kind of wallpaper, and so that's something that will go away as the tech gets better.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen a whole lot of attempts at AI in movies or even long form videos or anything like
Because you
that.
don't actually watch the movies. You just watch the review. And
That's
they're not going to
true.
show you the AI part.
Which, when we get to the next caller's call, well, we're going to talk about that. But I saw like Dave Ridley's trailer for his movie is on RidleyReport.com in the video section. I think you'd probably go to. It's like more showing like just pictures, and it's just a trailer. So I haven't seen anybody actually attempt. Have there been like attempts where people published it and it was like their final product?
I have seen. Well, I'm watching a lot of science fiction movies this week that are AI generated.
Oh wow!
And yeah, there is. I mean, you can see the potential, but you can also get bored really fast. It's just not there yet.
Oh, okay.
But it's new. It's new.
Yeah, it's brand new.
Yeah,
There
but
was
I
a
don't think
moment-
anybody would be like, "Oh, it's just new, so I'm gonna look at Bonnie and Ian's like generations of images when it first came out." Me and Ian were generating images that were like, "Oh my god, it's so bad." I can see the potential, yes. But
I get it, but go watch the old movie.
I think I'll just wait for it to get
with
good.
the early days of CGI, and go like, oh, that does not hold up.
Yeah, but I
It's
think
got
there's a difference.
go rewatch what's the dinosaur movie? Go rewatch Jurassic Park. It was so real for the time, and now it's like, oh man, total fake dinosaur. Total. I can see it now because everything around it has gotten so much better. Go ahead, Mark.
If you watch Battlestar Galactica, the 2004 miniseries, it definitely, it's like, wow, I didn't realize this was. I thought this was fantastic, but it's not quite that fantastic, right?
It was fantastic at the time compared to what else was there at the time.
Yeah, and that's another point. Like when AI first came out, and Ian and I were doing like make the moose smart, and it was like half moose, half gas station. We were like, "This is amazing" because it was new. Yeah.
So if you look historically, in 1982, I think Phil Collins released an album, roughly 82, an album he released called "No Jacket Required," and on the back it specifies, "We did not use a Fairlight in the production of this record." Right, so a Fairlight was this super controversial, synthesizer that was capable of almost sounding as good as a real piano, right? And this was just considered shocking. I guess I heard that the Moody Blues were intercepted at an airport once by Union thugs threatening to break their fingers because they had a predecessor to the Fairlight, which was called a Mellotron. And so the people got really angry about these things that are now done just routinely. No one uses an orchestra anymore unless it's for a live performance generally. So it's all of these
Okay, I'll
things-
say that I totally agree with where you're going and the point you're making, except if it has to actually make it better. So, like, I personally love pop music. I love synthesizers. I love that the Beatles pioneered the ways for synthesizers, and it did make music better, in my opinion. But if AI is, like, starts to be used, but it's all, like, going downhill, that's a different story. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if we get to a situation where humans have been wiped out and AIs are making all the stuff for themselves, it might look terrible. I don't know, but right now, with the magic combination is a high-end AI and a high-end human, and that I'm sure that someone. I don't have the capability to do it myself with my budget yet, but I'm sure that in the next few months we're going to see a really fantastic AI film.
It'll come from Elon Musk because he's promising it already.
But he's not high quality. Like, he has no vision for
Elon
anything.
Musk is not high quality.
He has no vision. He is not funny.
SpaceX,
so it definitely couldn't be
Tesla.
a comedy. He doesn't have taste. He had babies with Grimes.
Okay.
Who's Grimes?
Elon Musk's baby mama for the baby with the name that's like EAI, made up name.
I think she's also a musician of some kind.
Yeah, I never liked her music since I was in high school. So, like, I disliked her way before I knew who Elon Musk was.
I am not in the least bit worried about where things go with AI art. I'm way more worried about that robot that I saw this week on X that has little wheels for feet chasing things around. I mean, this thing was going at 30 miles an hour down terrain. If it's all they got to do is mount a machine gun on the top of it, and it's going to be chasing you around asking for your voter ID card.
That's scary. Thank you for the call, Dave Ridley. I want to get to the
Just shoot it.
next caller. It's actually on kind of like topic that we're on. Jacob in Alabama, you're on Free Talk Live. What did you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about the new Christopher Nolan movie that came out, The Odyssey. I wasn't sure if you guys had seen it or not.
Not I, but I watched a full length review about it. What about
Which is all you're
you
going to
guys?
get from Bonnie.
I saw Young Washington.
Wait, is that a different
I
movie?
will watch The Odyssey when it hits the pirate sites.
Yeah, I probably will too, honestly, because I thought the reviews were going to be like, oh, it's so bad, but a lot of people
Nope.
liked it.
Certified fresh.
What did you think,
It is-
Jacob?
So this is going to sound a little ridiculous because when I went to go see it with my girlfriend, she kind of had a similar reaction. I had never actually, at the point of seeing The Odyssey, I had never actually even heard of what The Odyssey even was.
Oh,
like
wow.
in the context of the story. I'd never even heard of that. So when I went to go see it, it was as if I was like implanted into 14 BC. Like, it was ridiculous.
But I got a question for you, just because we talked about this a little bit on last week's show. There's only like 25 theaters in the country that can show The Odyssey the way it was meant to be seen. Did you see it at one of these theaters? Not just
I didn't
IMAX.
see
It's
it.
like a higher version of
I
IMAX.
saw it in 75 millimeter, but I didn't see it in IMAX 75 millimeter. I went to Atlanta.
Oh, so close.
To see it in 75.
Okay.
But it was fantastic. I thought that the entire concept of this character arc of Odysseus, I just thought that the entire idea was so interesting, and I think that when you watch it, there's one particular part where they're like going through like the ocean, and they're going through like where like the sirens are singing and like making their music and stuff. It was really interesting what he says about like the sirens and like what they're trying to portray in that aspect, because it's like one of the people on the ship, as they're like going through, he like stops rowing the boat and just jumps into the ocean and just starts swimming towards them, because like apparently in the context of the story, like the sirens are supposed to be like not necessarily like these evil beings, but almost like everything that like you want, you can't have, kind of an aspect of like they tell you everything that you've ever wanted, you've already had at one point, but you lost. And it's just like this beautiful story of like honor, and like this beautiful story of like how people will do whatever it takes to get back to where they were or get in a place where they feel comfortable.
Does it make you want to read the book?
It really does. It really does. And then like you do some more research on like Christopher Nolan making it, and you find out that like a lot of this, like you guys were just talking about with like CGI, the entire movie is like all practical effects and just like VFX. Like none of it is CGI at all. And when you watch this movie, you find that incredibly hard to believe.
Well, okay,
Because
fair,
it's just
but Christopher Nolan is also a director of a certain caliber that's allowed to
Right,
work with like
yeah,
a $250 million budget. Right.
Right,
Like he
yeah.
goes like, I'm doing this all practical on 70 millimeter IMAX, and that's the end of it. And Hollywood goes, yes, sir, whatever you want, sir, however you want to do it, sir.
Right, yeah. It really blew my mind. Like I really felt like Christopher Nolan had really outdone himself with this movie. And I've seen a lot of previous Christopher Nolan directed movies, but I mean, I don't know. I really felt like he's really outdone himself with The Odyssey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't the big controversy about the movie that the actress that is now an actor is in it doing something?
Yes and no.
I heard about that.
So Elliot Page is in the movie, and there was some controversy early on that they played a certain part in the movie that everyone was all up in arms about. Okay, Achilles. And then it turns out that's not who he plays at all.
Yep.
So
Instead, it ended up being a character that Nolan chose from, I think it was the Iliad. It wasn't even in the Odyssey, but it's all the same like universe. So they put this character in the Odyssey because it's a character, I can't remember the name, it's like Sinon or something. And let's say it's called Sinon. Well, Sinon is like used as like bait and dies in like 5 minutes is what I heard. So the people that are mad, oh wait, sorry, maybe that's...
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler, sorry.
No, the
It's
book
not a
is
major
old.
character also.
It's like the oldest book in the world. You can't spoil the book.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But so basically that was like blown out of proportion. Some people are still mad that Helen of Troy was played by Lupita Nyong'o, I think it is, and she's black. And the thing is, she's actually really beautiful in other movies I've seen. I can't remember what movies I've seen her in. Maybe she was in Us, but she wasn't.
She is in Us, yeah.
She wasn't even like done up to look good or anything. It's like they purposely were like, we're not going to do a beautiful Helen of Troy, and I could see that being like kind of an annoying or distracting thing in the movie.
Black chick can't be
to be
beautiful?
honest, no, she is beautiful in
Yeah.
other things. They didn't even.
No, I know,
make...
like the racists will claim.
Oh yeah. That's the thing.
No, that's exactly what happened. Like I remember I was talking to one of my friends about The Odyssey, and keep in mind, like he'd never even like saw the movie, but he immediately had this complex like opinion of Lupita, and it very much was giving like, there's a black lady in my movie and I'm mad about it. And I was like, okay, like what do you want? You know what I mean? Like,
A white
you
chick,
can never be happy with
obviously.
anything.
Sydney
man.
Sweeney
I-
as Helen of Troy.
I hate
She
the
doesn't
movie.
seem Greek to me.
Yeah, but see, like, yeah, that would probably irritate me if I was Greek. But at the same time, there's this one man named Homer on Twitter, and he is Greek, and he is like really upset and saying this is like a huge affront to the Greeks. And it's like, if it is that serious to you, then raise the funds and make your own movie.
That's
You know
what
I
Elon's
mean?
doing.
Oh, really?
Like, that's the AI. He's going to redo the Odyssey
With AI?
With AI, or at least he's saying he's going to.
Oh, wow.
Right, to keep
I
it more
blocked him
faithful
on
to the
Twitter.
book and the story and whatever.
I hate the movie Transcendence. He's apparently the director. But then again, I'm not saying it was badly directed. I hated the point that was like, oh, AI is wonderful. And I hate
There
it.
was a CGI version of Beowulf with the, I forgot the actor's name, but this very important actor, the one that did Hannibal Lecter.
Is it also his?
No,
I was
he's-
looking up what Christopher Nolan directed.
No, it's not Christopher Nolan.
Oh.
It's a movie in the past that has become very dated very quickly, even with the best actor in the world in it. And, it's just kind of been forgotten.
Yeah. And you guys were talking about earlier, Elon Musk, like how his baby mama is Grimes. I actually really liked. I like a lot of Grimes.
One of his baby mamas.
I'm going to tell you a secret.
one
I like some of Grimes' music when my friend Nolan has played it for me and like forced me to listen to it, but I would never
And didn't tell her
admit
it was
that.
Grimes.
No, he
Yeah,
did.
I wouldn't go out in public and say that.
I don't
onto
like
the megaphone,
her.
But
And I'm like,
yeah, I
since
don't
I'm
really-
like a pop music fan, it's like the personality matters to me. I was trying to explain this to Ian.
The last time that I called, I think it was like a week ago, I was telling you about that artist, Julia Jacklin. Did you ever get around to listening to her?
In fact, I'll search it on my phone because I searched it on the computer, but somebody must have X'd it off.
Anthony Hopkins, Mark.
Thanks. That was him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Who's in a lot of good movies, but sometimes, like, not all of them are always in good
You can't
movies.
save everything.
Yeah.
I searched her on my Apple Music, so that way I can definitely remember to do it later.
And I can't remember. It might have been Al Pacino. So don't quote me on this, but he was in an interview several years ago, and they asked him, like, why are you making so many stinkers of movies at this stage in your career?
Who?
I think it was Al Pacino.
Oh.
I don't know. But some big name like Al Pacino who was making a bunch of stinkers, he said, well, if I attach my name to the movie and it draws a light to these smaller directors and actors, right, then I'm kind of doing a good thing right now. They're not going to be able to make the big Hollywood movie that's like worthy of my name, right? But it might get them the attention they need to do something more with their career. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting way to do it.
And to add on to that, this one movie that is very critically acclaimed, like people love it, but I cannot stand this movie. It's A Clockwork Orange. I really don't like that movie at all.
Oh, I'm a fan.
And I think as
Kubrick.
well that
a little bit of the old ultra violence.
That's like there's maybe like 2 more Kubrick movies Ian and I hadn't watched yet, and I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, and I would even argue that if Stanley Kubrick wasn't the person who directed and made that movie, and I can't remember who the main guy is, but the main actor, I would even argue that if he didn't direct that movie and the main actor wasn't in that movie, that nobody would care about that movie, like at all. I truly think that.
I watched that movie because it was a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Patrick McGee.
But I definitely enjoyed the movie.
Maybe
I've seen him multiple
Malcolm
times.
McDowell.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, I didn't really like that movie, but that's okay that you did. I'm not gonna. But
It's been a very long time since I've seen it, and I probably liked it because I was told that it was excellent.
Lots of people. Thank you for the call, Jacob. I think that lots of people like movies that are creepy, and MK Ultra is creepy, so many movies are based on it, and I think that's one of them. Thanks for the call, and more Free Talk Live coming up, so more callers are welcome to call in. 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Generic or name brand? I'm Holland Cook with Inflation Hacks. On a radio interview, I suggested comparing the ingredients in generic over-the-counter meds with name brand pills. And we got a call from a pharmacist who said that some generics might not work as well as name brand pills because of inactive ingredients you won't see listed on the packages. For seasonal hay fever, I myself came back to Sudafed after the store brand with the same active ingredient wasn't as effective. Dr. Roy Blackburn was listening, and he writes, the meds which are probably most important not to buy generically are cardiac meds and thyroid meds. Otherwise, it is worth a try to use generics. Thanks, Doc. How are you coping? Post your inflation hacks at andyoucanquoteme.com.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann with the Week in Review. New American tariffs of up to 12.5% on 60 of the country's trading partners took effect this week, covering virtually all goods imported into the United States. The duties imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act replace a global 10% tariff that expired on Friday after reaching its statutory time limit, and they are designed to stand on firmer legal ground after the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's earlier tariff regime in February. The administration says that new levies target countries that have failed to prevent goods made with forced labor from entering global trade. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
I'm sure they will be challenged, but this is a slightly stronger legal basis than the way Donald Trump previously tried to introduce tariffs. They're being imposed primarily under Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act.
Andy Burnham was formally appointed British Prime Minister this week by King Charles III, becoming the 7th person to hold the office in just over a decade. In his first speech outside number 10 Downing Street, the new Prime Minister pledged approximately $457 million in new funding to tackle homelessness and promised what he called a circuit breaker for Britain. Ollie Barrett in London says the new Prime Minister used his first Downing Street address to try and inject optimism into his vision for the country, something he and his allies believe was missing under his predecessor.
Andy Burnham trying in that speech outside Downing Street to inject some hope, some optimism, some positivity, not just into his message, but in his vision for the UK in the months and years ahead.
The death toll from the Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo reached 999 earlier this week, with nearly 2,500 confirmed cases recorded since the virus emerged in May. The World Health Organization and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are supporting the DRC government's response, but the outbreak is spreading rapidly across 5 provinces in the east of the country. The DRC's previous deadliest Ebola outbreak, which began in 2018, killed around 2,300 people over 2 years, but the current outbreak has reached comparable levels in just 2 months. Chris Ochamaringa reports from Kinshasa.
Now, the DRC had its worst Ebola outbreak in 2018. That outbreak went on for 2 years, and there were about 2,300 people who died. But this latest outbreak, which is caused by a rare strain known as Bundibugyo, has only gone on for 2 months, and we are told that there are now 1,000 people who have died. So that has caused a lot of concern in the DRC.
And finally this week, the European Union has reached agreement on a 21st Russian sanctions package. It's a watered-down measure amid concerns from Greece over the economic impact of a full ban on the transport of Russian liquefied natural gas. From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann, and that was the Week in Review.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160, 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation with us. I don't know why I ran those in together. It sounds like a 12-digit number, but I'd like to thank Starchild for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Starchild went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Starchild and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. And Starchild is one of the people that purposely broke the would-be dress code at the LP convention. And I was happy he did. I would have broke it with them if they had actually passed that. But everybody was like, did you see what Starchild was wearing? And I was like, honestly, I don't care because Starchild isn't pretending to be a woman. And Starchild is not breaking any rule because they didn't set the rule. So you guys should just get over it. But so I just refused to be all mad about that. It's like he was wearing booty shorts and dressing like a fairy.
Well,
kick him out.
It's also worth pointing out that Starchild has done that at every single libertarian convention for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't Starchild acting out. This is Starchild acting like Starchild.
Oh, okay.
And I did an interview with Starchild at the Libertarian National Convention because, to me, Starchild's part of the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Are
as the
they
Libertarian,
though? Are they?
I don't know what
member?
Starchild uses for pronouns, so I just say him.
Okay,
he,
well,
him.
that's why I said they, because I don't know.
You can do what you want.
Okay.
I don't particularly like the going with plural thing. I'd rather just, I'd rather fake it till I make it.
You can do what you want. Plural. Not really the point I was driving at.
You guys can both do what I want. I'm just kidding. Oh, with you on the show tonight, we've got me, Bonnie.
Kahuna.
Rich.
And Mark Edge, remotely.
So, did you have more to say about Starchild?
Nope, that's it.
Oh, okay. Where can someone watch your interview of him?
I suspect it's up at markedge.org, but I would have to go check. I don't know. Once I do them, that's about it.
Mark has a webmaster handling this for him.
I
don't run my own website.
Delegated.
Mark has staff. Oh, yeah.
Mark is the Christopher Nolan of website.
We were talking about the Odyssey in the last segment, and I felt like we didn't get to say everything we wanted to say about it. Maybe not, but I just wanted to say it's kind of a coincidence because I started reading the Aeneid, which is after, and I'm probably saying it wrong. Aeneid. And that is really interesting. And it's every single time I read a little bit of it, which I only do 10 minutes at a time, it's always wow, that's just it's like beautiful. It's so nice. So it's made me want to go read the Odyssey, which I only read like part of in high school for like the class. I just didn't care about it at all back then. I feel like, I don't know, it's like you get older and then you start to be like, oh, I see why this is like wonderful, like really good. And it's a different author and everything, but it's like continuation of the story. So I'm excited to see the Odyssey when it's when I'm not giving money to those people in Hollywood. No one else had anything else to say about the Odyssey?
I mean, like the only thing that I want to point out is the criticism, especially for the Elon Musk thing, where, you know, people are upset that Christopher Nolan's Odyssey isn't faithful to the story or to the book or whatever. It's like no adaptation in Hollywood is faithful to the original story or the book.
Yeah, but that is why
based on a true story.
But they don't just call it the Odyssey. That's kind of the only thing I would say about that. Is like, I usually would say, yeah, I completely agree with you, Richie Rich. But like when they did that before, they called it just Troy, for example. Like, we're gonna change it
maybe for the Odyssey, but think of any other movie that's based on a book.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Like every Stephen King movie that's based on a book isn't faithful. It is not faithful to the book.
Pedophilia.
That's part of it. That's one of the big reasons.
Yeah.
Right. But like, you know, any Hollywood movie that's produced isn't faithful to the book, even if the book is like a true story. Right. They go like, well, that part didn't really fit into the movie. Right. There was a wrestling movie. Iron Claw was like a wrestling movie about, you know, a wrestling family in Texas, like the Von Erichs. And, you know, they had like 5 kids die. And in the movie, they had 4 kids die. And the backstory was like, the director went like, we combined 2 of the brothers because we did not think the audience could handle another death of another brother. So we just smushed 2 people. And it's like, you know, this is the story of the Von Erich family. It's like, you know, based on a true story, completely embellished for Hollywood.
Wow.
It's never faithful. Drop that pretense and that expectations at all times. If you enjoyed the book, don't watch the movie. If you haven't read the book, watch the movie.
I would also say, as a a person who enjoys like beautiful women, it will irritate me when I am like, oh, I'm gonna be hearing like, and she was the most beautiful person in the world, and she was the most and she's just not. And and if you guys didn't hear last segment, we already covered. It's not because I'm like she should never be black. She could be black, but they didn't make her look beautiful at all. I've seen stills, and I'm like, oh my god, they like purposely made her uglier than she is.
There's plenty of movies with beautiful women in it. Watch those.
Yeah, but like when it's supposed to be a character that you're supposed to believe everyone thinks is the most beautiful in the world, like that is going to be distracting.
Yeah. It does seem like something that would be relatively easy to pull off in Hollywood.
Right. They could have swapped Zendaya and Lupita.
Yeah, I mean, they had to go out of their way to not make her beautiful. Right.
It's like a statement that's annoying.
And I hear you saying Richie Rich, but I think there are, I'll say, shades of gray.
50 of them.
Yeah, 50.
Faithful to the book.
Yeah, so you
100%.
You can be like pretty faithful or sort of faithful or not faithful at all. And so I think that's what we're talking about here. You know, they could have made her beautiful, even if, you know, there's in my opinion, there was no reason to not make her beautiful.
Okay.
But
I think it was a statement.
But it was their choice on purpose.
And I'm not angry enough as like that guy we covered in the last segment named Homer. I don't know his last name, but he's like really angry about it on Twitter. I would just say to that person, like, make your own Odyssey, like crowdfund. I bet he could get enough money to like make one. It might not be as big of a budget as Christopher Nolan's.
No, it's going to be heavily used of AI if he gets a crowdfunded budget to do it.
Well, we do have a caller on the line, so let's see what Turd Ferguson in Pennsylvania has on his mind. You're on Free Talk Live.
Well, you know, I have no interest in seeing that garbage movie. I'm sure it's not going to be anywhere near as good as The Dark Knight or Inception or a bunch of other Nolan films that were probably significantly more amazing than that.
I never saw either of those, and I've never seen.
You've never seen The Dark Knight?
No, nope.
Haven't you learned like, Bonnie doesn't watch movies?
That's the one that people always say, like, if you watch anything, like, watch The Dark Knight. And I think I probably would. People have told me it's good, but
do you like Batman?
It's probably, I would say it's among my top 5, top 10 favorite movies of all time.
I never saw.
Actually,
oh, go ahead.
Actually, the whole trilogy is probably up in that top 10 too.
What was the one that they shot the pink-haired guy shot up the movie theater when it came out?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that was The Dark Knight.
That was The Dark Knight?
Oh, no, you know what?
The
It was
Colorado
Dark Knight
shooting.
Rises, actually.
Okay, then I saw that
it
one,
was
The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, because it was in 2008. This says The Dark Knight is 2008. I've never seen Interstellar. That's another Nolan. Never seen Oppenheimer. Never saw Inception.
All great movies.
Oppenheimer was pretty good. Yeah, but Inception was probably is another one of my favorite movies. Also, I can't think of Nolan if Nolan did The Prestige or not. Maybe that.
Yep,
yeah,
that's
that
right
might have
here,
been
The
Martin.
Prestige.
Also a great movie.
Yeah,
Never saw that.
That was a great. I love that movie.
Dark
That
Knight
was
Rises is
another
also
really
him,
good
so
one.
yeah, I saw that one. Another one it says is Dunkirk. I've always heard of that, but never seen it. And then Memento.
Memento is also a great movie. Bonnie, you suck.
Yeah.
Watch good movies, Bonnie.
The only one I saw is The Dark Knight Rises, The Transcendence, which I hated, like really hated. Is Man of Steel? No. I saw Batman versus
Superman.
I almost said Barnacle Boy. Not joking.
That was Zack Snyder.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Good memory.
I will say that Ben Affleck was like the greatest Batman that never was. They should have given him his own movie. He was awesome in Batman versus Superman. So was Henry Cavill. In fact, those two guys made a really crappy movie, a really great movie, just because they were so good in it. And there's this one scene close to the end where Batman is going to rescue Superman's mom, and they've got like her hostage in this warehouse, and then Batman he blows up the floor and like storms in and starts like kicking everybody's ass. It's an awesome scene. It's probably the best scene in the movie.
Wow, it
But,
says that he did it looks like a documentary or something called Stanley Kubrick in Focus. We were just talking about Stanley Kubrick too. Seems like he really does like good stories, like he's all into these superhero things, which even though it's not my thing, I can admit that's like great stories for the most part. He did a documentary, Heath Ledger, A Tragic Tale. Yep.
Oh yeah, Heath Ledger. He was also amazing. Yeah, what an amazing individual he was.
I know
God
you liked
rest his soul, Heath Ledger.
Brokeback Mountain. I know you love that.
Well, I like The Dark Knight, and his performance as the Joker is just incredible.
What about A Knight's Tale?
I saw that one. Excellent.
Well, and put that aside. How about 10 Things I Hate About You? Julia Stiles. I was in love with her when I was a kid. That was a movie that made me fall in love with her.
Is A Knight's Tale
anyway.
like kind of a comedy? Yeah, I think I saw it, but it was high school so long ago. Like they voted to see it, and my class was obsessed with movies like that. But like they were always voting to make us watch Monty Python over and over again. It almost made me hate it. Like when I got older, people showed me like other Monty Python stuff. I was like, okay, it's like objectively great, but I don't ever want to see the one about the cup ever again.
The Holy Grail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never again.
That's probably the most tragically disappointing ending in movie history.
Honestly,
They just had to wrap things up.
I get
but
it.
Yes, it is.
we ran out of money in the budget. We had to end the movie, and this is the best we could come up with. Blazing Saddles
Well, I don't know
too.
why
Great
they-
movie right up until the end.
I don't know why they would have picked that one woman to play Helen of Troy.
The one for
kinda
this
gross.
movie, Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, she is not attractive in any way, shape, or form.
No,
Why not?
In my
Why not
opinion,
get
she is.
Zendaya?
But she is not attractive in the movie, and it's like they go out of their way to make her not attractive. And I agree, they should have swapped. The older person should have played Athena, who's like the goddess of wisdom. And it doesn't really, like somebody else put on Twitter, so it's not really my unique idea, but somebody said, I don't like Zendaya as Athena, not because she's black, but because she's like, looks like a teenager and isn't playing a wise goddess to me. And even just pictures, I've only seen
Zendaya?
pictures. Right.
Zendaya's badass. She would have done way better, and she's far more attractive than that other woman.
I have way more respect for Zendaya now that I've watched. You guys are gonna hate this. Instead of watching the show Euphoria, I heard so many interesting things about the last season that I watched this guy who does basically a review and shows clips here and there on YouTube, and he just tells you everything that happened in the episode while like showing clips. And I was like, wow, like honestly, it might actually almost have been worth it to actually watch that, because like Zendaya's acting is really incredible, and the story was actually pretty interesting, at least in season 3. That's the only one I watched that on. So I would actually have liked to watch it. with Athena.
The story's
swapped.
interesting in all 3 seasons, but yeah, definitely in season 3. And season 3 was kind of more like Breaking Bad meets Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah, I could so see that.
Exactly what season 3 was, in my opinion, and I'm sure other people's opinions track with that who've seen it. But Zendaya is just a totally amazing individual. Rest in peace, Rue Bennett. She was an amazing character. Lots of dynamic conceit.
It's been enough time. Yeah,
What?
I said spoilers, and I said no, it's been enough time. I'm just kidding, but kind of spoilers, I guess. Maybe we should like throw that out there when we talk about shows. I don't know if people get like really serious.
You've had your
about it.
chance.
So I think that if you just come in, just straight up and say Star Wars, it turns out Darth Vader's Luke's dad, right? Like a bang. And you do it, on a relatively new movie and you just hit him hard and fast. But if you're chatting about the Odyssey and people have some expectation that you're going to, protect the ending for them or whatever, that doesn't seem fair to me. Trigger warning. Like I'm
No,
not
it's like
here
the oldest.
making
Again, it's the oldest story around. There's no spoiler alerts needed. If you haven't read it and you don't know,
I agree.
You've had your chance.
Especially not for I agree. There's no spoiler alerts needed, especially not for a garbage movie like The Odyssey. I'm still
certified fresh.
I'm still in awe. I'm in awe that anybody even saw it.
I thought you didn't see it. Did you say you did not see it, Turd?
I did not, and I will not, because it's a garbage movie.
What about just for Zendaya and Anne Hathaway?
He's calling it a garbage movie, having not seen it at all.
I do like Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway's boobs are getting a lot bigger than they used to
Well,
be.
she's pregnant right now.
That's a topic of conversation on the internet. But I always loved Anne Hathaway, though, and she was great as Catwoman Selena Kyle in The Dark Knight Rises too. But she's good in everything that she's in.
One of the 2 movies
Anne
I went to
Hathaway.
go see this year was The Devil Wears Prada 2, and it was so good. I loved
Of course,
it.
that's so you.
It was really
well,
good.
I'm sure,
I thought it was going to
I
suck.
heard she was. Well, I don't know. I heard it was really good.
Of all the movies to give Hollywood your money over, you like Devil Wears Prada 2.
They had Lady Gaga, a brand new Lady Gaga
I won't go
song
see The
in it.
Odyssey because I don't want to give Hollywood my money.
True.
But Devil Wears Prada 2, matinee opening night.
I mean, I love Mirren. Wait, what's her name? Helen Mirren. My bad. And I love the movie Devil Wears Prada 1, and there was 2 new Lady Gaga songs in it. The first one sucked, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be awful. But the second one was like so worth it. Like worth the first one sucking.
Worth the price of admission.
True.
For a song you could have
love
just popped
Lady
in on
Gaga.
Spotify.
But it's better to see in the movie. It's like so worth it. I won't even give anything away about that. It's so worth it though.
If we're going to plug movies, I'm going to go ahead and say Young Washington was worth seeing.
Okay, what is that about? Like George Washington as a young person?
Yes.
Kind of like young Sheldon.
I heard it was terrible.
It seems
Well,
like you're
what
just.
did they mean when they said terrible? There wasn't a
I heard
black man playing George Washington, if that might concern you.
That would be pretty crazy. We would have heard about that.
Wait, what?
I said
Why
there
would
is
I- why would I
not
care
a
about-
black
why would I
man
care about the race?
playing George
Why would I
Washington,
care about the
if that
race of
concerns you.
Mark. Why would I care about the race of the actor?
The person that called in last week
Yeah.
to say he wants black people out of his town. Like 2 weeks ago.
Hold on a second. Wait, hold on a second. Now, let me clarify my position here. I genuinely believe that judging people based on the color of their skin is legitimately evil. Okay, let me just say that first.
But I'm a dude anyway.
I still like to make decisions in my life and form my opinions based on objective truths like data and facts. And it is a fact that black people are significantly more likely to vote Democrat. As far and by the way,
But you want women in
your
your
women.
I was gonna say, but you want women in your town.
Yeah, right. I do want women in my town, and that's a trade-off that you have to make. Yes, I want to live around a bunch of attractive young women.
Take
now,
one
the
for
good
the
thing
team.
is a lot of the attractive young women in Shrewsbury happen to be more conservative or libertarian-minded.
What would you do if
based
women
on my
got
experience.
outlawed in Shrewsbury, but you could just leave the city, gates in order to go get women? You just couldn't bring them back. Would that be an okay trade-off?
if as far as what what would the trade-off be for that? Like we
That
had
you'd
no
then
You can't
get-
show them your wonderful shower. You can only show them the backseat of your car.
And you would then get fewer Democrat voters, and maybe it'd be like a, I don't know,
Well, I mean, there are
paradise there.
right now. There already are hardly any. I worry about the future of Shrewsbury. I don't want a bunch of
Brokeback
people who
Shrewsbury.
vote Democrat coming in here and voting to raise my property taxes. You know what I mean? I think that's wrong. I don't. And by the way, I already pay higher property taxes than probably most of Pennsylvania. And look, okay. I live in Shrewsbury. I know when you live in a place that a lot of people want to live in, your property taxes are naturally going to be higher, right? But I do think that there should be a ceiling. And I do think that in a conservative-leaning town, we should be lowering the property taxes, not raising them. And that's why I don't.
I have
Who sets
excellent
the
news.
ceiling?
The Free State Project, in New Hampshire, we have recently offered a tax cap to towns. Now, I don't think they necessarily have to enact it, but the voters get to vote on a tax cap for their towns.
Did Ayotte not veto that?
I don't know.
She's just like such a horrible governor, vetoing all the good things.
Well, to clarify, a lot of the city tax itself in Shrewsbury Borough and Shrewsbury Township is actually very low, but the school budget is what kills us.
That's true. That's true. Generally speaking, across the country, it's typically in the neighborhood of 70% of the budget would be tied to the school.
Yeah,
That's
and
ridiculous.
there are a lot of young and middle-aged families here, so a lot of them want their kids to be educated. I just don't I don't like it. And I'm never going to use it. I'm never going to have kids.
Well,
so and now
But you do want those teenage girls around you.
Well, yeah, of course. But luckily, I did actually get recently. I was able to claim. I was able to. I forget. I mean, I got the homestead deduction recently, but there was another one that I got that actually. And I can't even remember what it was called, but it actually significantly lowered my responsibility for the school taxes, which I'm glad. But the closer I get to zero, the better, in my opinion.
Well, Mark, she actually signed it.
By the way,
sorry, I
before
thought you're
forget,
done. Sorry.
Yeah, before I forget, I want to say this too. Elliot Page, that's what a stupid name. Elliot Page. Ellen Page was one of the sexiest young Canadian actresses ever. If you type into Google, type in Ellen Page, don't never forget what they took from us. There's a great meme that circulates the internet. It's of sexy young Ellen Page in short shorts and rollerblades, and it's and on the
That's
meme.
not an
it's
attractive woman. I'm sorry. Head is square as can be, block blockhead. Honestly, kind of looks better as a man, except for the fact that it's such a short person. Literally, I never thought when I was a little kid and Juno came out.
Because there's no short men that are actually real men.
No, it's not that. It's just that Ellen Page was short for a woman. This is a 5 foot tall. I'm not trying to say that they can't exist, but no one's going to be that's my ideal, I don't think.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. But
Ellen Page was not ideal. No one ever thought that. When I was a kid, I was like, why did they put such an ugly chick for Juno? And no one ever disagreed with that. No one was ever no, she's so hot.
Bonnie, I think a lot of the men that are sitting around you and Mark Edge would agree with me on this one, that Ellen Page is very attractive.
Then ask them. They're here.
Juno specifically, Jason Bateman wanted to bang this underage girl in the movie, which is part of the plot of Juno. Literally part of
Honestly,
the plot
I don't remember that.
Juno.
And I know I've seen that one, but yeah. I don't remember that. And Sabrina Carpenter made a great song based on it.
Do?
No, I don't remember really anything about the movie Juno except somebody gets pregnant. Juno gets pregnant. That's it.
Yeah, well, part of the movie is that, Juno gets pregnant and she's going to give away her baby to Jennifer Garner and Jason Bateman, who is husband and wife that can't have kids. And as she gets to know them, Jason Bateman wants to bang Juno, who is 17, and he's in his late 30s or something.
They wrote that she's getting pregnant and that people want to bang her. That doesn't mean that's not proof that I have to think she was attractive. Honestly,
well,
for one thing,
no,
it would probably give me like.
What I'm saying is, Jason Bateman would not want to bang an ugly 17-year-old if he's going to.
Unless he's doing a movie that he's acting.
Unless it's written into the script.
Oh my God!
Well,
Ridiculous.
Look, it's got to be realistic.
Honestly, no, it doesn't. Like
it was realistic.
Like we figured out, they're writing into movies now like she was the most beautiful person in the known world about women that they then go to make ugly.
It's also a running gag in Will Ferrell movies where his wife is like way hotter and out of his league, and that's like just part of the trope.
Yeah, lots of movies like that. Seems like. Thank you for the call, Turd Ferguson. Oh, by the way, he must have pretty keen senses for how many women around him, because I was like, it's probably like everywhere else, like a slight majority of women. Nope, it's 100. Or wait, sorry, 100 women to every 105 men in Shrewsbury, Pennsylvania. He has keen senses on one thing.
As you can get.
Well. Usually it's the other way around, like a slightly more female to male ratio, and like everywhere. More Free Talk Live coming up, 603-283-6160.
Some of you have wanted to support Free Talk Live's mission on a monthly basis, but don't want to support Patreon. Now we have an alternative that also helps our premier streaming platform, Odyssey. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click join at the top of the channel. You can subscribe for $5 per month, and unlike other subscription services, Odyssey adds their processing fee on top, so it'll cost a little over $5 per month, but Free Talk Live will receive the entire amount you pledged. Higher donation tiers are available if you're feeling so inspired. You'll get a special membership badge that's visible in the Odyssey chat room, and if we get enough supporters, we may enable members-only chat. This new subscription method is a great way to decentralize our direct listener support away from just Patreon and also support a libertarian-run business, Odyssey. Please visit video.freetalklive.com and click join to subscribe to our Odyssey channel and help support spreading our message around the planet. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click join today. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann with the Week in Review. New American tariffs of up to 12.5% on 60 of the country's trading partners took effect this week, covering virtually all goods imported into the United States. The duties imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act replace a global 10% tariff that expired on Friday after reaching its statutory time limit, and they are designed to stand on firmer legal ground after the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's earlier tariff regime in February. The administration says that new levies target countries that have failed to prevent goods made with forced labor from entering global trade. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
I'm sure they will be challenged, but this is a slightly stronger legal basis than the way Donald Trump previously tried to introduce tariffs. They're being imposed primarily under Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act.
Andy Burnham was formally appointed British Prime Minister this week by King Charles III, becoming the 7th person to hold the office in just over a decade. In his first speech outside number 10 Downing Street, the new Prime Minister pledged approximately $457 million in new funding to tackle homelessness and promised what he called a circuit breaker for Britain. Ollie Barrett in London says the new Prime Minister used his first Downing Street address to try and inject optimism into his vision for the country, something he and his allies believe was missing under his predecessor.
Andy Burnham trying in that speech outside Downing Street to inject some hope, some optimism, some positivity, not just into his message, but in his vision for the UK in the months and years ahead. He and those around him feel that that was sorely lacking.
The death toll from the Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo reached 999 earlier this week, with nearly 2,500 confirmed cases recorded since the virus emerged in May. The World Health Organization and the Africa Centres for Disease Control and Prevention are supporting the DRC government's response, but the outbreak is spreading rapidly across 5 provinces in the east of the country. The DRC's previous deadliest Ebola outbreak, which began in 2018, killed around 2,300 people over 2 years, but the current outbreak has reached comparable levels in just 2 months. Chris Ochamaringa reports from Kinshasa.
Now, the DRC had its worst Ebola outbreak in 2018. That outbreak went on for 2 years, and there were about 2,300 people who died. But this latest outbreak, which is caused by a rare strain known as Bundibugyo, has only gone on for 2 months, and we are told that there are now 1,000 people who have died. So that has caused a lot of concern in the DRC and the neighboring countries.
Protesters gathered across India on Friday as the youth-led Cockroach Junta Party has called for demonstrations in every district demanding the resignation of the Education Minister over the NEET exam paper leak scandal. The Indian government has deployed 20 companies of Central Reserve Police to the capital, and Delhi Metro has shut at least 16 stations as crowds swell near the main protest site at Jantar Mantar. The movement has rejected the government's offer of talks, saying its core demand for the minister's removal has not been addressed. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The numbers at Jantar Mantar, which is just a few meters away from where I am, they are starting to swell up again, and this comes as the Cockroach Janata Party, which is the youth-led movement, they have called for a nationwide protest against the question of paper leaks, but also mainly demanding the resignation of India's education minister. They have released pamphlets to their supporters online saying that in every district of India they should be organizing some kind of demonstration, and they've also published a list of so-called do's and don'ts, what to do during a protest, emphasizing that the protests need to remain peaceful.
And finally, the European Union has reached agreement on a 21st Russian sanctions package. It's a watered-down measure amid concerns from Greece over the economic impact of a full ban on the transport of Russian liquefied natural gas. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
The EU's Foreign Affairs Chief Kaja Kallas has described the sanctions package as the largest in the 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. 218 listings in total, including banks, crypto operators, shadow fleet vessels and military industrial entities. This 21st sanctions package was floated in early June, but's been held up amid concerns from Athens over a ban on the transport of Russian LNG. A compromise has been reached. An oil price cap set by the G7 is set to be in place for another year, but exemptions are in effect for companies seeking to transport Russian energy to third nations. Formal approval is still needed from the EU's 27 member states.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann, and that was the Week in Review.
Many thought that a politician with a publicly inebriated lifestyle would be unelectable. But Dave Tillis has proved them wrong, winning over voters by loudly rambling on about issues they care about.
Everybody's got to know that drunks are Americans, and we love America! And we want to make it awesome! Oh my God, let's do this! Let's be a senator! I love you guys!
Tillis' total fearlessness and lack of inhibition seem to speak to voters. This week, those supporters had something to celebrate as Senator Tillis proposed his first piece of legislation, the All Bus Stops Should Have Shelters bill.
But does that mean you deserve to wake up in the snow? Hell no. Let's make a shelter on all bus stops. Ow! This idea is genius!
This is the Onion News Network.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. talk radio that you control. That means that you can call in with whatever is on your mind, change the subject, tell us we're wrong. It doesn't matter. It's Free Talk Live, and that's the point. So 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number to call. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. With you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
Kahuna.
Rich.
And Mark Edge, remotely.
And what I titled the show about, and what we kind of, I think, teased maybe at the very beginning, but luckily we had calls, is that the U.S. is talking about getting rid of daylight savings time and making it permanent daylight time. Wait, I don't know if I got that right. Did I get that right, Mark?
You got the first part wrong.
Yes.
Uh-oh. I'm being told
So
differently.
let's use term daylight shifting time. Makes it easier for people to understand what's going on. Currently, we're under a system where we move from one time zone, from your time zone to the time zone to the east for most of the year. And
Foolishness.
What Americans go ahead.
No, I was just saying foolishness.
Okay. Well, I agree. I think that we should live in a world where noon is as close to noon as we can practically make it.
And by that, you mean the sun at the top of the sky?
Yeah. So a noon means that the sun is at its apogee for that particular day. It's its highest point. And now you can't make every town have noon at noon because this is the problem they solved with time zones back in like the 1870s or whatever.
Right. Like my parents live in Alabama and they live on the far west side of the eastern time zone. So I can't remember which way all of a sudden. It's either still really light for a lot longer than it would be here or other way around. Oh yeah, it's light there for much longer than it is here in New Hampshire because it's the same time zone. But if you look at a map, that's pretty far as far as longitude goes apart.
They're also further south.
South too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it probably makes a big difference. But I think that it still would if they were the same latitude but same longitude or different longitude. Or wait, same longitude but all the way up at the same latitude as us because they're at the
edge of the time zone.
Exactly. So like it's later, but the sun just got to them since it goes kind of like counterclockwise. I mean, my mind, I don't know if that's how you put it, counterclockwise, or it goes to the west. So yeah,
that much I know.
It's definitely not possible to make everybody like have perfect noon. So that in my mind, that's why I just discard and don't care about that point. But go ahead, Mark.
No, my number one thing when it comes to time zones is I think we should be on standard time all the time, no matter where we are, or let's just go to Zulu time for everybody in the world, and then everybody would know what time it is. Now, I think that's me
Don't
solving
worry that
a
he said
problem
Zulu
for
time.
me.
Yeah, Mark, sorry to interrupt. So just for those who don't know, what is Zulu time?
Zulu time is 24-hour time at Greenwich Mean.
Okay.
So, there's a spot, let's pick it, and then we all just use the same time. But that's really me solving a problem for me, not me solving a problem for the world.
It's a problem solved for the world. Like I'm with you because it solves a problem for the world.
It works for Neopets. The Neopets website is just Neopian Standard Time. And so you're playing with people from the other part of the globe, but you're all have the same time.
That's why the world is globalized at this point. We have the technology that interconnects us all. We shouldn't be doing math to figure stuff out when it's okay to call people.
Yeah, I mean, because in different countries, obviously, whatever they're time shifting, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't occur on the same date. I mean, I have friends in New Zealand, for example, and depending on I think the time of year and if we've gone back or forward and so forth, I think they're anywhere between 15 hours ahead and 17 hours ahead, something like that. And I can never remember when it switches, so I always have to look.
And even though Arizona doesn't change, my little brother lives in Arizona, I'm still having to figure out, well, have we changed? And I'm 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it is hours ahead of them.
And let's also remember that, I don't know if this is a myth or not, but I've heard it. Right, one of the reasons why we still shift late back to standard time is the candy companies wanting extra daylight for trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm happy with that. Wait. Sorry.
Just some context here.
Wait,
Part of the reason why, I think this is particularly relevant right now is the House just passed. It's called the Sunshine Protection Act.
Stupid.
Love it.
And they passed that 12 days ago. And this is something obviously Trump has been touting for a while now. But that's sort of why.
This flies directly in the face of the two things that Mark is pitching, though.
I know, but I'm just saying that's some context here as to why it's like a current topic.
My grandma told me when I saw her last, she lives in Alabama, and she said that when they started enforcing daylight savings time, or maybe they were just talking about stopping it, I can't remember now, she said that she'll never forget that somebody wrote into her local newspaper saying, I'm a farmer, and I don't think my tomatoes can handle any more sunlight. So he actually thought that it was going to create more sunlight. Oh my God.
Well, to be clear, I think the number one thing that almost all Americans want more than anything is to stop effing with the clock.
Yeah,
I think that everybody can just sort of agree that let's pick a time and stick with it.
Well,
daylight savings time.
No.
I know. That's why I'm saying I'm the only one that's going to have that opinion.
This is the dumb thing with this whole legislation, right? Like
save sunlight.
The legislation isn't necessary if you just stick with standard time.
Right.
There's no law that says you have to go into daylight savings time, but you need federal approval to make it officially the only time. So if you just stick with standard time, it's all good.
No, it's not all good because nobody wants it to be dark at 4 p.m. I'd rather it be 1 hour later. But you know who cares? People will get all angry that it's dark in the morning and kids are walking in the dark.
Just start school later.
Walk them. Yeah, start school later. So
yeah, that's
I'm
the
saying
solution.
Wait, am I on the wrong?
The businesses can just change their operating times.
Yeah,
right,
so
to whatever it is. You get the same amount of daylight no matter what.
Yeah.
Like you're talking like the farmer from Alabama going,
no.
my tomatoes can't handle
I feel
this
like
much
you're
sunlight.
misunderstanding me because I'm saying keep it in the time that we call daylight savings time.
And I'm saying no because
don't
that
change it back.
requires the federal government to intervene.
Wait, what?
And
Why
standard
would it
time
require
you
that?
don't.
I don't understand.
Because
all you
that's
do
the
is like your
rules.
state decides it.
Those are the current rules. My understanding is.
Wait, the current rule is you're switching, and I'm not advocating for that.
That is not a rule.
I see.
My understanding is that basically the state's each state's discretion.
Well, I don't care if it technically like the thing that makes the most sense happens to be what the feds are also saying. That doesn't bother me. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but you're also arguing for something that doesn't make sense.
In what way? You haven't said how it doesn't make sense.
You get the same amount of daylight during the day, regardless of what time zone you're in.
Hold on, Bonnie, here's the reason. Because it's letting children,
I don't care about that. Change the time of
psychological children and drunks decide when the frickin' time's going to be.
Yeah.
Act like an adult and get your ass up if you want more daylight. That's the reason. There's a clock. God made the clock. He said noon was noon, and you're like, no, everybody should change it because I want more
God
time
did not
in
make
the afternoon.
the clock. The clock is human made. Don't give away
There's such
our
thing as summer hours.
No, yes, change school time. Make it later so that way people aren't like.
But you can do that with standard time.
The kids are walking in the dark.
You just start school at 10 instead of 9.
Yeah, but
right.
if it's standard time and school starts at 10, then they're walking home for sure in the dark because it's dark at 4 p.m. in most places.
But it would be the same as if they started school at 9 and they were walking home at 3.
No, then change it to 10 and they're walking home at 3, but it's still daylight for 2 more hours in the winter. See, that's what I'm saying.
Now you're just compressing. You get the same amount of daylight. Now you're just shortening the school day.
To shorten the school day, too. They don't need to be there 8 hours. It's only because people are using it for babysitting.
I don't know if kids even walk home anymore. I mean,
yeah, they make it illegal.
I mean, the kids that take the bus, at least the one I see, I mean, back in my day, you'd go out to the bus stop and you just hang out there and wait for the bus. Now, like, the parent is there and they have the kid in the car with the car idling till the bus shows up. So I don't know how many kids are actually walking.
Whatever the clock says, right? You get the same amount of daylight in daylight time and standard time.
I understand. I've never
Do you
been
understand
confused.
that? Because it doesn't sound like you do.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying because I've never ever thought,
I've heard
you get
you say
another
it twice.
No, you didn't hear me say that. I've never thought that you don't have the same amount of daylight in the day. I joked about when I said save sunlight, like I was joking about that.
Then why are you so hell-bent on
because
getting the government
in the
involved?
winter, you don't have to get the government involved.
You do.
No, well, you don't have to get the federal government involved.
You do. That's the whole point.
Okay, no, you have to change the everybody going on the same time. You get either the state or the federal government involved either way.
No.
But if you're just saying, oh, I should just decide for myself, and then people
I'm not
will
saying
listen
decide
to me
for
or not,
yourself.
that's
I'm
stupid.
I'm
Because
saying
I
to
want
make
everybody
daylight
to agree.
to make daylight time permanent, you need to get the federal government involved.
And to make standard time permanent, you have to get the federal government
No, you don't.
involved. No, then you have to get the state government
No, you
involved.
don't.
Then how is that true?
Just the time is what it is.
Hold on, guys.
Go
Wait
ahead,
a second. In the state of New Hampshire, all right?
Yes.
Right now, the state of New Hampshire could choose,
So the
without
state's
any
involved.
federal government involvement at all, permanent standard time.
Correct.
It chooses to change because, well, half the state goes to work in Massachusetts. That's the reason. And it would be weird if they didn't. Now, they do have a
So
bill
to change
that
the
didn't-
government would have to get involved to make it only state standard time is what I'm saying.
The federal government would not have to get
No,
involved.
not the federal, the state. I said state.
Well, I mean, you can operate your life however you want.
And now you're
but
doing-
yes,
see how
weights
guys
and
said
measures
exactly what I said
are
you
the
would say?
job of the federal government.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm saying, like, not just the federal government, federal or state would have to get involved to stop the switching.
The state doesn't have to get involved to stop the switch.
Why is that not the case when you just said that the state decides
The
that
state
they
does.
switch?
The
That's
state
what I'm
does.
State
saying.
of New Hampshire.
Yes, and I said that would have to get involved to stop the switch.
Well, the state of New Hampshire isn't the same as the federal government.
never said it was.
It takes a
Not
literal
at one point
act
did
of
I say it
Congress
would.
in order to do this
No, it wouldn't.
nonsense that you
The
want to do.
state could just say, we are switching to daylight savings
No,
time.
they can't.
Why?
Because the federal government has to be involved.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Yes, it does, Bonnie.
Why does it have to be
you
involved?
have
That doesn't make any
as the
sense. They can
federal
just say,
government has
we're
given
in
the
New
state
Hampshire,
of New
we're
Hampshire
doing
two
that.
choices.
To make
you can
to make it
filibuster me if
daylight.
you want.
Then you
The
say we're not
federal
listening
government-
to you. And it's not a Bonnie Freeman has to decide for herself. It's the state can say we are not listening to you and we are making it daylight saving time all the time.
Look,
They could
maybe
do that.
after
You're
this
right. They
secession.
could attempt to nullify the federal government, but
Yes.
at this point, no state's going to do that.
Well,
At
that's
this point,
stupid. At this
it is
point,
within,
they
and
should.
I would say, if the United States government's going to have a job, weights and measures are a good job. Now, it has done a crappy job for 250 years, and let's hope the next 250 years we can have the imperial system, or get rid of the imperial system, have the metric, and go ahead and do the whole thing.
No.
But it's as easy as the state house voting in order to turn New Hampshire back to standard time.
I don't even really care that
and
a
maintain
state,
standard time,
I don't
which
even care
makes sense because it's the time zone you're in.
that a state would have to get involved. It really doesn't bother me. But if you're saying the federal government has to get involved to change it to daylight savings only, I disagree. I think that we could just be like, we're done listening to your standards. New Hampshire's doing its own thing. In fact, is that not how Arizona did it?
No, because Arizona's on standard
Oh,
time.
yeah.
They don't have to switch.
No, yeah, that's true.
Right. You don't have to switch.
Yeah.
So if
That's true.
New Hampshire just
Alaska.
wanted to like have one standard
Alaska
time.
does it too? No, I understand that part now. It was one thing that I got wrong. Everything else, you were wrong about what I was saying. But daylight savings is the best time because everyone's awake at 5 p.m. If you're not awake at 5 p.m., you're the outlier. Not everyone's awake at
4
6
p.m.?
a.m. And when I used to have to be up at 5:30 a.m. to get to my job at the hotel, it did not bother me that it was dark. It bothered me when I went home for the day and it's dark. You see what I mean?
Yeah, so just switch the hours.
What do you mean?
Just have the hotel switch their hours of operation.
I agree that the hotel should do that anyway because it's just like stupid. It's like almost everywhere where there's like a 24-hour.
You're like the Alabamans
person
going
there.
like, I get more daylight.
That's not the same thing at all.
It
That's
is.
a completely different thing. No,
I
that
want my
person thinks
daylight
that
at
space
night.
is changing. No.
I want my daylight at night, not
you
in the morning.
actually sound like the person that is the least smart here because you sound like you think that I am saying, oh, sunlight like
you
expands
did. You said
for
I want
the
my daylight at 5 p.m., not at 6:30 in the morning.
Let's
That's
take this
not what
back
I'm
to first
saying.
principles because that's what libertarians like.
How do you not understand what I'm saying? Like, if you
He
change to
does
daylight
understand you.
only,
He's messing with you.
No, he's not. He genuinely
No.
sounds like he doesn't. He thinks that I'm saying like tomatoes will be under sunlight for an hour longer. No, you can.
She
be
said everyone's
dark in
up
the
at
morning.
5 p.m. and I don't want to drive to the hotel at 5:30 in the morning.
What is this? I don't understand what you're saying. Like
I'm
when I wake up at
repeating
like
what you said.
I don't understand what your point is. Like, yes, when I would wake up at 5 a.m. and it's dark, who cares? When I'm driving and it's 6 a.m. and it's dark, who cares? But when it's I'm driving home and it's like 4, sometimes it's dark, that's a problem. I
Why
don't
is that a
understand what you
problem?
don't understand. Because it's like depressing and gross. It's gross to spend all your waking
But
hours.
it's going to be that dark at that period, no
Yes,
matter
but
what
it
the
will
clock
be
says.
called 5 p.m. And since most people aren't going to go changing like everybody's schedule, I agree too that we should do that. But I think the more likely thing that would happen is that state will say, "Forget you, feds. We're doing what we want." Then
rather than
changing.
businesses changing their hours
Yes,
of
because
operation.
that's harder. How do you not get that that's harder? It's so
she
much
wants
easier.
5 o'clock to self-identify. She wants 4 o'clock to self-identify as 5 o'clock.
Yes, because what you think is that it's like actually an objective fact that noon is noon. It's not. It's not.
Oh, it is.
No, it's not. It's just when
we
the
call it solar noon for a reason.
And that was named that after humans did that. Humans decided to call
It's an agreement
that a thing called
that the highest
noon.
point of the
All you
sun
have to say
during
is
the
that-
day is called solar noon.
All I have to
Correct.
say is like we call this 1 p.m. and the sun's at the highest point of the day. It doesn't change anything about reality. Or wait, would it be 1 p.m.?
It does.
Wait, I don't know if I'm
it
mixing that
bends
exact thing up.
reality to make it so
No,
that
it
people who
doesn't.
want things to be a certain
Mark,
way.
you already admitted.
I'm sorry. To me, the truth is the truth.
No, it's
and
not.
That's why
You
I like
don't actually
standard
think
time.
that. Because
Now,
in your
again,
world-
I will take your world over the one we have where we
Yeah.
switch clocks.
I think
Just
we
to
can
be
almost
clear.
all agree on that. But
No.
Mark, to be clear, you actually are, that's total cap because you want a world where solar noon is solar noon in New Hampshire, but it's an hour early in Alabama, right?
Look,
or do you want to make the time zone smaller?
My watch says it's almost 7:30 because I refuse to change it.
Oh my God. What the heck?
This is the time that it is, and everything else is an alternate reality.
I've tried this.
I'm a little confused.
My watch says it's almost 7:30.
Yeah, but
because
when it
in
typically-
reality, it's almost 7:30.
So we've
artificially
back. Okay,
we've
you're right.
artificially changed the time to say it's almost 8:30, but that's wrong. Everyone's just agreed on this common delusion.
No, when I went down to the basement during the break, I didn't look out the windows when I was walking down because I was like distracted by my dog. And when I came back up, I was expecting for some reason for it to be dark. And when I came up and it was still light out, I was like, "Oh, that's so wonderful! Like that's great."
But it would have been the same brightness at 7.
Okay, yeah, in the middle of the summer, true. But still.
or in the winter. Like no matter what
Not
no
in
matter
the
what the watch
summer.
no matter what my watch says, right? That's the period
in
of
the
time.
winter at 8:30, it's definitely dark
Yeah.
because of like the
I get
angle
it.
of the planet.
I
Okay.
get that part. We're not in a
We do
disagreement
have
on
a
that.
caller, and I don't want to like make him wait. I made him wait a little bit because we were getting serious about the daylight saving time argument, and I knew we would because I know I have an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, you
according to
side
some
with the
people.
federal government.
That's fine. I signed with the feds on this one, but we have a caller. Caller, what's your name and topic?
Michael, my name is Michael, and thanks for taking my call, Bonnie. I'm going to have to side with the rest of the team on this one. High noon
Figured.
should be high noon.
Then what about Alabama? Like, what about that point? How come nobody seems
I
to have
think you're
anything to
wrong
say
on
about
Alabama entirely. Alabama sits in the central time zone, so I think you're calling like your parents have just been
My
lying
bad.
to you about the
No,
time.
no. Then I had it backwards, but I'm not wrong. It's that my
Okay.
parents are on the very eastern side of Central. I couldn't be for sure what
Correct.
I was talking about there.
Okay.
But that means that it's darker when other people are saying, "Hey, it's still light here
And
in
again,
Texas."
that's because they arbitrarily, like Mark picked the
Right.
point, right? They said
Right.
Greenwich is this,
Yep.
and then they arbitrarily divided it into 24 time zones.
Yep.
You wish that was the case. That would make a way more sense than what happened. But go ahead.
Okay. But like we have 24 time zones, and it's arbitrarily decided that we have 24.
Either way, the sun's not going to be perfectly at picture
It's
at
true.
noon
Okay.
everywhere. So you
Yep.
are
Right.
absolutely not being in accordance with what you said.
But in order to have that, then we'd have like 60 times the amount.
What's the optimal number of time zones then?
Well, to have
24
high
is
noon
the
everywhere,
optimal.
360.
Mark says 24.
Well, not to have high noon everywhere.
Or we just go with Zulu time across the board, and then there's no reason why noon has to be at 12, if that makes sense.
I've been saying that.
You get 12:03.
Yeah, but you're not saying that. You're saying what you're saying is let's have 24 time zones, and they should be the way I want them to be. If we're going to have 24 time zones, have noon as
To be
close
fair-
to the
Bonnie
center.
wants 24 time zones shifted 1 degree to the left.
But to be fair, I would rather have Zulu time and who cares what the time means, it doesn't matter. And then businesses actually go like, it makes no sense for us to be going home as the sun just setted.
We're going to change our business hours. We have summer hours and winter hours.
I'd prefer that over what we have now, and I'd prefer it over like the daylight savings time.
And you don't think that's easier to do than making everyone switch their clock arbitrarily?
That would cause both. That would cause government and businesses. So what I was saying was only government, which I think would be easier. What you're saying is you want only businesses, which in my opinion would be much harder. Maybe more libertarian, but I do think it would be harder.
I mean, I think the shifting of business hours, that's a very practical solution. I mean, we have ice cream shops that close for the season. Right. Well, so down in Florida, there's a Mark, you know this, Benderson Park, right? It's a big park in Sarasota, right? They have hours that are different depending on the time of year, and that's because of the length of the day is changing, right?
So it already can be done.
It can already be done.
Without government interference.
That's like one example, just like a park, but you could do the same thing for a business.
Yeah, there's a few examples here and there.
We're going to shift
without getting the government.
We're going to shift our business hours.
That's not going to happen. You think all businesses are going to be like, "Hey, I'm this hotel group. Hey, I'm this," and we're going to.
Well, not all of them, because some of them won't. Right? And they go like, "Oh man, I gotta go to the shop."
They're not going to agree on what direction to go. They're not going to agree on what to
not all
switch
businesses are open from 9 to 5 anyway. Some are open from 10 to 6.
I mean, a lot of businesses this has been the case for a long time now. At least in professional settings, would be flex time, right?
It's not even always
you can come in anywhere. We want you there sort of during core hours, but you can come in as early as 6 a.m. and as late as 11 a.m. and then work your regular schedule hours.
I wish that was like across the board, like the typical way that businesses did things.
Convenience store at the gas station opens at 6. Restaurant opens at 10. Oh no. Can't have that. Can't have businesses with different start and end times. We've got to get the government involved.
I see what you're saying there, but what I'm telling you is they wouldn't just all decide to do it at once because they wanted to make life easier. It would just be like jumbled.
Yeah, some would, some wouldn't.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I think
it's already
is
jumbled.
Something.
I mean,
not wrong with morally, but I think it'd be way more confusing.
No businesses are in agreement as to like the standard opening time.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
So who cares?
They for the most part are though. Like we're talking about.
They're
not
yes,
at
they
all.
are. Yes, they are. Like if I've never like applied for a hotel and it wasn't 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. Like
that's a standard shift because they're open 24 hours a day.
Standard why? Because for the most part they're that way. Okay.
Because they're open for 24 hours.
Might have more things to say, so let's go. More Free Talk Live coming up, and hold on to the line.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Rising fees have made Bitcoin useless for purchases, but Dash continues to have fees less than 1 cent per transaction, and its features ensure Dash is undefeated as the most useful cryptocurrency in the marketplace. From a technical standpoint, Dash transactions are irreversible, and its network is protected from 51% attacks by their Chainlocks technology. There's no need to wait for a confirmation before considering a Dash transaction complete, so it's great for merchants. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at Dash.org. Big thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit Dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann with the Week in Review. New American tariffs of up to 12.5% on 60 of the country's trading partners took effect this week, covering virtually all goods imported into the United States. The duties imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act replace a global 10% tariff that expired on Friday after reaching its statutory time limit, and they are designed to stand on firmer legal ground after the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's earlier tariff regime in February. The administration says that new levies target countries that have failed to prevent goods made with forced labor from entering global trade. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
I'm sure they will be challenged, but this is a slightly stronger legal basis than the way Donald Trump previously tried to introduce tariffs. They're being imposed primarily under Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act.
Andy Burnham was formally appointed British Prime Minister this week by King Charles III, becoming the 7th person to hold the office in just over a decade. In his first speech outside number 10 Downing Street, the new Prime Minister pledged approximately $457 million in new funding to tackle homelessness and promised what he called a circuit breaker for Britain. Ollie Barrett in London says the new Prime Minister used his first Downing Street address to try and inject optimism into his vision for the country, something he and his allies believe was missing under his predecessor.
Andy Burnham trying in that speech outside Downing Street to inject some hope, some optimism, some positivity, not just into his message, but in his vision for the UK in the months and years ahead.
The death toll from the Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo reached 999 earlier this week, with nearly 2,500 confirmed cases recorded since the virus emerged in May. The World Health Organization and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are supporting the DRC government's response, but the outbreak is spreading rapidly across 5 provinces in the east of the country. The DRC's previous deadliest Ebola outbreak, which began in 2018, killed around 2,300 people over 2 years, but the current outbreak has reached comparable levels in just 2 months. Chris Ochamaringa reports from Kinshasa.
Now, the DRC had its worst Ebola outbreak in 2018. That outbreak went on for 2 years, and there were about 2,300 people who died. But this latest outbreak, which is caused by a rare strain known as Bundibugyo, has only gone on for 2 months, and we are told that there are now 1,000 people who have died. So that has caused a lot of concern in the DRC.
And finally this week, the European Union has reached agreement on a 21st Russian sanctions package. It's a watered-down measure amid concerns from Greece over the economic impact of a full ban on the transport of Russian liquefied natural gas. From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann, and that was the Week in Review.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
More Free Talk Live is here. I don't know why I didn't mean to say that. Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number you can call. Get your opinion in, change the subject, tell us what's on your mind. It's up to you. It's Free Talk Live. And 603-283-6160 is the phone number for that. And if you're tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites, our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. That's social.freetalklive.com. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Kahuna.
Rich.
And Mark Edge, remotely.
And our caller from the last segment only really got to say one thing, and we all spurged out on him. So he had something else he wanted to say. Michael, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Spurg it out quickly.
Yes, I'll bring it on quickly. I actually want to talk about the coveted Senate. And recently, one of the senators passed away, Lindsey Graham, and then they were able to appoint, I believe it was his sister, as a senator, which is the right of, I think, the governor. But recently, another senator, I'm going to call him MIA, is Chuck Schumer. And
is it Schumer or is it Mitch McConnell?
Mitch McConnell's in the hospital and hasn't been seen. Chuck Schumer might also be.
I'm sorry, I got the name wrong.
Yeah, Mitch has been missing now for 43 days or something.
Well, we just spoke to him, had a 20-minute conversation with him yesterday.
Are you on the meme, Richie Rich? I think I saw your meme.
I don't post a lot of memes, so probably did not see my meme. But I'm familiar with the meme.
What do you mean by you talked to him yesterday?
When it came out that he'd gone missing for so long, one of his cohorts said, well, he's alive and kicking and well, and I had a 20-minute conversation with him, and he's like, we just got to go bomb the heck out of Iran again.
Oh, wow.
And then...
That sounds like something Mitch McConnell would say,
right.
though.
Well, then Thomas Massey chimed in and said, I also had a 20-minute conversation with Mitch McConnell. He said, we got to end the Fed and, and whatever. So then
somehow I missed all that. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So everyone who has something to say that wants to force their opinion into Mitch McConnell's ear. Has just had a 20-minute conversation with him yesterday.
Nice.
Go on, caller.
Yeah, with an extended period of time, and the Senate seems to be the coveted part of the Congress. They are held to, there's only 100 of them, vice the 435 in the other one. But it seems that if you can just appoint a senator that was somebody's sister, like, is that in their bloodline, or does it seem? It seems to me that it's just the spoils go to the winners there, and if they're going to pass laws, it seems like the guy should show up to work, or maybe actually put out a press release with a picture that's not 2 years old.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but don't we see this repeatedly in history? For example, President of the United States. Is it a coincidence that you had two presidents not too far apart from each other with the last name Bush, for example?
Are you just talk about the nepotism? Because at least people cast votes for those. No one voted for Lindsey Graham's sister.
I mean, okay, yeah, but I mean, it's. I mean, let's be practical about it in terms of how I would say the vast majority of the American public thinks.
Okay,
there are
that nepotism is good.
They're pretty much in many people's minds, not ours, but two candidates, right? And those candidates are, I'll say, vetted internally by the parties. So the Republicans put up two different elections. They put up somebody named Bush.
Yeah.
Are those necessarily the most qualified candidates, those two elections?
Okay. I hear your point. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
But like, at least people got to vote, right? They went through a primary process. A lot of other candidates dropped out. They were the last ones remaining. Yep. They got the party vote, and then they got the general public vote. Like, appointing someone's sister just because they carried the name, there was no voting process.
Okay.
Right. It kind of goes back to the last election where Kamala Harris got appointed the nominee without ever having to primary anybody.
And more recently in the state of Maine with who was the guy that just basically the party didn't want him anymore. He did some bad things, and I forget his name.
Yes, tattoo guy.
The tattoo guy, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say the party.
But the party primaried, right? They had people within the party
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person that's replaced him.
No, look, the governor of what's the state McConnell's in? Is that Kentucky?
Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, the governor of Kentucky gets to decide who it is, and he decides for whatever reason there was the guy's sister. Yeah. Let's remember what voting is. Voting's the thing we do instead of shooting each other over which group of liars and thieves get to sit in the House. So it's just supposed to be a compromise that's just good enough.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that voting doesn't matter, and Mark stole my line there. I mean, you're choosing the least of the worst liar and thief there.
So are you saying that then the governor could have done better than the voters with the appointment of the sister?
I think that the nepotism probably reeks a lot there, and they probably, I'm not from there, but I would suspect that if there was a primary, they would have selected her to be in the front runner.
Okay, so we just saved a bunch of money on primaries, and we just trust the governor's opinion.
They did, yeah.
Okay.
But should he have to give credence, or should he have to look at, here's who's polling, and I'm going to make my decision based on what I think the people want, or can he just should he have to just do what he wants?
He can do what he wants. In this case, I really think he did it because Trump mentioned it ahead of time.
Oh.
Right? Trump's like, he really should appoint the sister. She's a really good person, and
he
really
saw what Trump did to Massey.
So I think that played a role, right? Trump bullied it, but if that's the way it's going to be, we're going to save money, we're going to bypass this voting nonsense. Just whomever is in charge gets to appoint him. If that's the system you want, that's better than voting. Have at it.
Well, is that all you guys had to say about is that all you, caller, had to say about the Mitch McConnell and the dead guy, whether or not he's dead?
That's all, buddy. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the call. And the number is 603-283-6160. We also have Sarah in New Mexico on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind, Sarah?
Yes, I really feel that our midterm is going to really show the vote against Trump and all of the wars and all of his policy. I think it's going to be like a mega showdown.
A lot of people think that the Republicans are going to lose big time in the midterms.
I mean, just as far as data goes, I mean, regardless of what you think about either party, I mean, that has historically happened. In other words, I'll say the party, quote, in power typically loses seats in the midterms, and that's just the way it is.
Because people are like, oh, I know who to be mad at right now. It's the team that the president is on.
Yeah, that could be part of it.
The real interesting thing is if the Democrats do take over in the midterms and don't impeach Trump, like, are they then setting themselves up to lose the presidency as it swings back to the Republicans? Because they didn't do what the voters want them to do, and that's get rid of the moron.
I think that's a valid point. I mean, the trends that I've seen, the polls I've seen, seem to point to the House going back to the Democrats, but the Republicans retaining the Senate.
Okay,
right.
And obviously,
I think what that shows is that, in fact, America doesn't hate. Or, you know what I think it actually shows is Americans still hate the Democrats pretty severely. They just don't know what to do. It's just getting the pendulum swinging is getting shorter and shorter. Americans don't know what to do because if the Democrats can't take the Senate, then what? I mean, really, this is the only time you're going to be able to. The midterms of the second term historically is when you're going to do your best. If you can't take the Senate, your party's washed up.
I think part of it is, in my opinion, the Democrats. That be with Mandami and others like him. I mean, the
socialists,
the
Democratic
Socialists,
the
DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, is for some reason a thing now, and that party is
for some reason,
largely abandoning. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I mean, it seems like the reason is fairly clear, but
well, then articulate it, please.
The current government is making everyone poor while the wealthy class gets wealthier because they're in collusion with the federal government or the state governments. And the Democratic Socialists are using that to get the poor people on board to say, hey, look, they're colluding with each other to steal from you. You have to elect a socialist in to get that wealth back. And it seems as long as they're going to do that and inflate the money supply and make it more difficult for the younger generations to achieve the same level of financial success as the older generations, democratic socialism looks appealing.
Right.
Okay.
I completely agree with him, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we want guaranteed mediocrity for everybody? Is that what we're looking for?
Guaranteed mediocrity brings those people up.
Okay.
So the thing is, I'm not saying that what Richie Rich is saying, that's the way we should look at it, but I do agree with him that's how people are looking at it. I watched this one channel. I watched several channels like this, but my favorite is Edward's Economics. It's this guy in Texas, and it was so crazy. I started watching his YouTube videos about economics, and then my friend, when I went to go visit her husband was like, yeah, I hired this guy to take care of my economics. And I was like, is it Edward's Economics? And he's like, how'd you know? I was like, well, that's crazy. I just know he is in Texas. But anyways, he makes videos where he's reacting to TikTok videos that have to do with the economy. So he has a brain on him. Most of the people he's reacting to don't. And they're all saying things about how wow, it's so hard to live these days, if only we could get more money from the government, more help from the government. Yeah. They're not right, but it is how people are thinking about it.
Yeah, and that was I wasn't saying you specifically, Richie Rich, but I mean I'm just sort of posing the question. I mean, clearly, in my opinion, those people don't understand economics, and I hate to say it, okay, because when I was still working and I ran a business and I had employees working for me, and yes, it has changed across generations. I can tell you the vast majority of young professionals working for me did not want to work hard and trying to skate by, and it was much different than when I was in their shoes. And that's not how you get ahead. I'm sorry.
I think that there's a mix of things. That might definitely be true, and I've seen things that make me think that you're right about that people are working less hard, but it's because back in like earlier times, what am I trying to say? Like decades ago,
ancient times like the 80s,
working harder was more likely to actually benefit you. Now it's like a lot more is rigged against you. I still do not agree with the type of person who's like, that means don't even try. We should just have the government feed us and clothe us. I disagree with that.
I don't agree with you on that because like when you say rigged, I mean, I'm talking about employees who wouldn't fill out their timesheets, who would lie about the amount of time they worked, who
it's wrong.
Clearly did not work a full day. Okay, that's not rigging. That's not the system rigging against you.
No,
that's
the
just
system
people
rigged
who
against
don't
you
wanna
is
work.
like it's just absolutely there in the numbers. Like the most money ever printed was in 2020. Like it actually, inflation is actually worse.
But I'm not in this case. I'm not talking about low wage earners. I'm talking about college educated professionals being paid a high wage. That still do not want to work. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I saw a guy kicked out of an interview because they asked him, like, why do you want to be here? Or, like, what do you want out of this job? And he said, maximum pay for minimal effort.
Yep.
Dang, well, that's stupid.
Goodbye.
Well,
so
you say goodbye, but like everyone wants that. That's not like a unique perspective.
I don't think
I want the most amount of money possible.
Think you can say
That's
everyone.
the problem. Is this public school attitude that has been drug into the workplace, which says that all this sucks and we can't get ahead and there's this, it's impossible. Well, I'll tell you what,
from the employer's perspective, what does
superpower?
What does the employer want?
Of the workplace right now?
Employer wants maximum effort for minimal pay.
That's not. That
and,
is
and
not,
you
that,
negotiate your way to the middle.
That is absolutely not true. I had and I'm not going to throw a blanket statement because it wasn't true. I had newer hires who I would say had a more traditional work ethic. Those employees, they advanced, they got promotions, they got paid very well, they got high bonuses. Okay, our philosophy, at least in my
and if you could have got that effort out of them for like half the price, you wouldn't have taken it.
No, because they go somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying.
The market's competitive, so
you negotiate to the
like
middle.
3 times double
it's not like
we're
trying to get indentured servants or try to.
But you would take them if you could.
Yeah, but why don't you pay them like 3 times the price you pay them now if it has nothing to do with profit maximizing? Like, you see what I mean? Like, I
that's
think
part
Richard
of it.
has a point.
But I just take issue with can't get ahead and the system's rigged against you. I just don't buy it.
I have issue with people who are wrong about the fact that the system's rigged against them and they're just being lazy. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that lots of people weren't even lucky enough to end up with any ability to get a like high paying job, and they are actually trying, and then they realize after a few years like this is pointless, and then I don't really blame them for being upset with that.
Because their wage doesn't go up and everything gets more expensive around them, and they go like, it's not worth the effort if I'm not getting ahead.
Yeah.
If I'm working hard and falling behind, why am I working hard?
I think that in that case, they should be trying to do other things to get more money instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to do nothing. But I do not blame them for not like going to be like, I'm going to do the above and beyond the most I can do in my like McDonald's job or whatever. Like that's actually a dumb thing to do. What you should be trying to do at that point is like get famous on YouTube or something while you're trying to like gain other skills. But
the opportunity has to be there somewhere.
Almost everybody who works at McDonald's, who's a district manager at McDonald's, worked at a store.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the district managers come from somewhere at McDonald's. If you're going to go to work at McDonald's, work McDonald's like it's a job.
That's just like kind of a random example. Never worked at McDonald's, you know. I didn't want to say hotels again.
I mean, McDonald's is a hierarchy, right? There's far fewer district managers than there are fry cooks. So not everyone who works the fryer is going to get promoted to district manager.
That's right.
There's just not enough jobs.
Yeah, but actually, if you stick around long enough, there's a good chance that you will, if you've got the raw materials to be able to do it.
Work at a wage you can't actually live on for like 3 years or something until you finally can become manager is just like actually it's not competing
and then the boss promotes his nephew.
Yeah.
You can't live on this wage is the thing that California has sold to the rest of America. Yeah, it's true. In California, you can't live on that wage. But in America, the rest of America, you pretty much can. Now, It sucks.
Getting ahead,
but it
though.
sucked
Like,
in the 80s too.
Just
you know?
living on a wage
Not
is
as
one
bad.
thing. Not being able to ever get out of this rut where all you do is work at McDonald's most of your life and then get off work and it's dark and you drive home and you can't spend any money on anything to entertain yourself
That's
even
what
or
we
else you're
did
out of
too.
money.
Yeah.
We did
But
that in
no,
the 80s.
you actually were
It
able
was
to do that and get
literally rife
ahead.
in the 80s.
You were able to do that and continue climbing up. Most people are just like, I don't see a way out. This is going to be it. Like,
Not just
because things are
climbing
more
up.
expensive.
Like look at the cost of living data, right? Like you made more per cost of living back then than the current generation does now.
And that's just numbers. Like, there is no arguing that. Like like I said,
Like,
most
look
money
at
ever
your basket
printed.
of food, your car payment, and your house.
It's
your
exponentially
mortgage.
worse. Like, it's getting worse quicker at a higher rate.
That's because people want more and more things. Don't have a cell phone. Take the bus to work.
You
can
won't
do
have a
it.
cell phone, and then you probably can't ride the bus because they're going to be like, you need to have the app.
Look, you can do that, right? But like people in the 80s didn't have to, right? Like you could afford the car because cars
And then
were
go
cheaper.
after to the mall
and you could
shops
afford the
after
house
work.
because the houses were cheaper.
we drove $500 jalapenos that are all rusted out instead of
Which you can't
Most
get
people I know
anymore.
that are poor are not driving great cars.
Which you can't get anymore.
That's actually true. Not only did it, like, 2020 car prices went insane and have never become normal ever again, even though they went back down, they have not gone to normal
Yeah.
ever again.
I
Me
don't
and my
think
sister-
Gen Z's complaining that they can't get a jalopy. I think they're complaining that the jalopy is too expensive and it's not $500 anymore.
And it's like,
Well, that's inflation for you.
and not just
Yes.
inflation, even though inflation's part of it, more fees on having an item like that exists now, like in states. Like, states have made not only more fees, but made their fees more expensive for, like, having, that's the word I'm using, but it's really a tax, like, required insurance, registration, there we go. See, I live in New
Registration,
Hampshire,
insurance,
New
safety
Hampshire.
inspections, whatever. Yeah.
Oh wait, it's not that I live in New Hampshire. We have that crap, but until recently.
But even if it were just inflation, right? They're getting less for their dollar, and wages always lag behind. Wages are like the last thing to move ever when it comes to like catching up with the economy.
I had this,
which is why they had the big push, fight for 15, and we blew right past that, and it's irrelevant now.
An arbitrary number that itself just causes more inflation.
The minimum wage?
Yeah.
Doesn't
it
cause
does.
inflation.
Of course
It does because if you're
It
allowed
drives
to.
price inflation to some extent.
It may
It
drive
does.
price inflation, but that's not real inflation.
Oh, okay, yeah, it drives up the price of goods. Per
Correct.
Like if McDonald's makes their wage go up, they have to charge burgers.
And ironically, you sort of play that out, and the margins are squeezed, right? Guess who gets the
Thanks for the
axe?
call, Sarah. Sorry for not hanging up.
The employee.
Mm-hmm.
So your drive for a higher wage ultimately gets you let go.
I bet if we just dropped minimum wages at all, like altogether, things would be better. In places like New Hampshire, I don't know why this is different from state to state, but for whatever reason in New Hampshire, it's like everybody just said, screw the minimum wage. And
Well, because it's well below the price floor.
no one makes it anyway.
Yeah, no one makes it anyway. New Hampshire doesn't have a state minimum wage. They go with the
make
federal.
more, to be clear.
The federal is like $7.25, right? And no one makes anywhere near that level.
I mean, I would argue that's a better situation because the market wouldn't the market then set what that wage should be based on skill sets and what employers are sort of
So dropping
gonna
it
pay.
might kind of be irrelevant in New Hampshire, but in
The
some
minimum
places,
wage, it's effectively zero, and the minimum wage in New Hampshire is effectively
it's really
zero.
irrelevant at this
But
point.
for some
you
reason,
still
other
experience
states, it's not.
inflation in New Hampshire. You still experience real inflation. You still experience price inflation, and the wages still lag behind both of those.
Also, I genuinely think that, like, in the 80s, just the population was better people. Like, Ian actually had to explain to me, I was, like, getting convinced by, like, TikTok that it's not immoral in any way to steal from Walmart. I was like, I kind of see where they're coming from. This is 2020. I'm 24. I wasn't doing it, but I was being convinced. I was like, honestly, I see where they're coming from. Like, I don't want to be a communist. I don't want to act like that, but I believe that they're making a good point because they were on TikTok. Actually, it still goes on.
Peakless made that case on air here.
But Ian made a great point to me. He said, you're stealing from your neighbors and honestly yourself if you're doing that because you're
Walmart
driving the
will raise
price
the
up.
price.
And Walmart's going to have to raise the price if they're experiencing
But if you're
a
stealing,
big
you're not
loss.
affected by the price increase.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But you're stealing from your neighbors. So it's still immoral. I genuinely think...
Your neighbors aren't paying you. Your neighbors aren't making your life any easier.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, just because of the fact that our population is more immoral, even that is causing price inflation. So, that's
only for the moral, right?
So things like people breaking stuff.
We had shoplifting in the 80s too. I just want to be clear.
No, I think it's gone up because
you didn't have razor blades locked behind security doors in the 80s.
Yeah.
There were some things locked behind security doors, but you're right that it wasn't razor
spray paint. That would piss me off.
I've been in
I worked at Walmart.
Pharmacies that had in Florida, Mark, that had the laundry detergent in glass block cases because they had a big issue with people running in and dash and grab because they need to do laundry or whatever. And laundry detergent's very expensive now.
That's pretty bad. They had the spray paint behind doors at Walmart. That always was so annoying because I had to stop what I was doing. Oh, okay. I didn't even think about that. I thought it was people just being like vandals and being like, oh, I want to spray it for
maybe
fun.
that too, but I think it was more to do with like the huffing of the paints.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, but either way, I think that the actual people around us being worse people, it not only makes them do things like not work at their job, like you go to a job and you see that people, like it's just like everything is being denigrated in a way. But I do think it's harder nowadays. I don't agree with...
It's economically harder nowadays. You don't have to think that.
I
look
don't
at the data.
Agree with, I'm getting paid, but I'm going to do less than I'm getting paid for, if that makes sense. Like, if you get paid...
quitting.
And you agree to do a job, you should do it. And also, I do think it's bad for you, your own self, to be like, to do the quiet quitting. I think it's bad for yourself to hurt your own soul and, like, habits if you do that to yourself, if that makes sense. Like, you're definitely not going to get ahead that way. But more Free Talk Live coming up. I don't know if that's really a popular thing, quiet quitting in America. I know it was like a lay flat thing in China. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. We'll be right back.
With weather conditions in the Sahara among the most brutal in the world, the desert is a place suitable only for collapsing, dying, and rotting. Starvation is just one of the many possible outcomes for the gazelle or desert elk. It could also suffocate in a sandstorm, collapse of dehydration, or be run over by a dune buggy. Only the vulture has the wherewithal to survive in this nirvana of death. They feed on the dead of the Sahara. Uniquely adapted to the rigors of desert life, the vulture usually dies of heart disease after becoming overweight from the feast of carcasses. The landscape of the desert is dominated by towering sand dunes made from millions of years of ground-up bones. Another day ends in the Sahara, Earth's largest, most uncomfortable tomb.
This is the Onion News Network.
Eleutheromania, the insatiable desire for freedom. It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass. Available now on your favorite music app or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann with the Week in Review. New American tariffs of up to 12.5% on 60 of the country's trading partners took effect this week, covering virtually all goods imported into the United States. The duties imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act replace a global 10% tariff that expired on Friday after reaching its statutory time limit, and they are designed to stand on firmer legal ground after the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's earlier tariff regime in February. The administration says that new levies target countries that have failed to prevent goods made with forced labour from entering global trade. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
I'm sure they will be challenged, but this is a slightly stronger legal basis than the way Donald Trump previously tried to introduce tariffs. They're being imposed primarily under Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act.
Andy Burnham was formally appointed British Prime Minister this week by King Charles III, becoming the 7th person to hold the office in just over a decade. In his first speech outside No. 10 Downing Street, the new Prime Minister pledged approximately $457 million in new funding to tackle homelessness and promised what he called a circuit breaker for Britain. Ollie Barrett in London says the new Prime Minister used his first Downing Street address to try and inject optimism into his vision for the country, something he and his allies believe was missing under his predecessor.
Andy Burnham trying in that speech outside Downing Street to inject some hope, some optimism, some positivity, not just into his message, but in his vision for the UK in the months and years ahead. He and those around him feel that that was sorely lacking.
The death toll from the Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo reached 999 earlier this week, with nearly 2,500 confirmed cases recorded since the virus emerged in May. The World Health Organization and the Africa Centres for Disease Control and Prevention are supporting the DRC government's response, but the outbreak is spreading rapidly across 5 provinces in the east of the country. The DRC's previous deadliest Ebola outbreak, which began in 2018, killed around 2,300 people over 2 years, but the current outbreak has reached comparable levels in just 2 months. Chris Ochimaringa reports from Kinshasa.
Now, the DRC had its worst Ebola outbreak in 2018. That outbreak went on for 2 years, and there were about 2,300 people who died. But this latest outbreak, which is caused by a rare strain known as Bundibugyo, has only gone on for 2 months, and we are told that there are now 1,000 people who have died. So that has caused a lot of concern in the DRC and the neighboring countries.
Protesters gathered across India on Friday as the youth-led Cockroach Junta Party has called for demonstrations in every district demanding the resignation of the Education Minister over the NEET exam paper leak scandal. The Indian government has deployed 20 companies of Central Reserve Police to the capital, and Delhi Metro has shut at least 16 stations as crowds swell near the main protest site at Jantar Mantar. The movement has rejected the government's offer of talks, saying its core demand for the minister's removal has not been addressed. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The numbers at Jantar Mantar, which is just a few meters away from where I am, they are starting to swell up again, and this comes as the Cockroach Janata Party, which is the youth-led movement, they have called for a nationwide protest against the question of paper leaks, but also mainly demanding the resignation of India's education minister. They have released pamphlets to their supporters online saying that in every district of India they should be organizing some kind of demonstration, and they've also published a list of so-called do's and don'ts, what to do during a protest, emphasizing that the protests need to remain peaceful.
And finally, the European Union has reached agreement on a 21st Russian sanctions package. It's a watered-down measure amid concerns from Greece over the economic impact of a full ban on the transport of Russian liquefied natural gas. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
The EU's Foreign Affairs Chief Kaja Kallas has described the sanctions package as the largest in the 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. 218 listings in total, including banks, crypto operators, shadow fleet vessels and military industrial entities. This 21st sanctions package was floated in early June, but's been held up amid concerns from Athens over a ban on the transport of Russian LNG. A compromise has been reached. An oil price cap set by the G7 is set to be in place for another year, but exemptions are in effect for companies seeking to transport Russian energy to third nations. Formal approval is still needed from the EU's 27 member states.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann, and that was the Week in Review.
As Sao Paulo struggled to dig out after last week's devastating earthquake,
I'm just praying and helping.
One group was left with no one to care for them.
There is nowhere for these homeless dogs to go. There is no food to give them. There is no clean water. These dogs are going to starve to death.
I have to do the humane thing. I have to put these dogs down.
O'Brady Shaw is the only journalist compassionate enough to do what has to be done.
Put down 50 or 60 dogs today. I didn't want to.
Let me help you!
Their fate would have been much worse if I hadn't done it.
It's better this way.
O'Brady Shaw goes where other reporters won't and does the jobs other reporters can't.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Gut Check with O'Brady Shaw. Live from Sao Paulo. Tomorrow night, only on the Onion News Network.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Kahuna.
Rich.
And Mark Edge.
Founding member Mark Edge. So pay attention, people. We are not unprofessional today. So we have a caller on the line.
It's one professional with three of us.
What do you mean?
Mark is the professional. The rest of us are still unprofessional.
Right.
We're not rising to his level of professionalism.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I'm at Free Talk Live is not unprofessional today.
Okay.
We have a caller on the line, and if you would like to get in on the conversation with us, that's 603-283-6160. But let's just get right into the phones. Alu in Virginia, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I finally published, live on Amazon, my long-awaited book I've been working like 3 years on, Suppression of Expression, How Politicians Have Destroyed the Right to Free Speech, Press, Religion, Assembly, and Protest. Ebook, paperback coming soon, Audible, it's already up there, so it'll be in every format.
And
everyone who likes liberty should buy it.
We didn't cover it on the show, not for any like particular reason. It just occurred to me, like at least I didn't. Maybe they did yesterday or something. But there was this case just yesterday out of Minnesota where a lady said the N-word and she got charged with like 90 days. She got convicted. Now she's being sentenced to 90 days in jail, $200 fine and $1,000 fine, 200 hours of community service. What do you have to say about that as someone who wrote the book on the First Amendment?
Yep, that's a classic case, and I actually wrote about it when it first happened about a year ago. I did write about it in the book. Now I got to update the book, of course, because this trial happened. But I wrote when it happened that she was charged with 3 counts of disorderly conduct. That was down to 2, and then at trial she was convicted of 1. So yeah, I wrote about it, and that's in the big broad chapter on hate speech, harassment laws, disorderly conduct, the very, very broad laws. It's obviously a violation of the First Amendment. I write about the Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire standard of fighting words, which was BS. Because, by the way, this is like 1946, that case, and the Supreme Court ruled that state law can criminalize fighting words that are likely to provoke an angry reaction, such as fascist, which is, in Chaplinsky, that's what he actually called the town marshal, the cop who was arresting him. He was arrested, he was unarmed, and he said, "You're a fascist and a damn racketeer. You're all damn racketeers." And
wow.
All kinds of fighting words, and he was convicted of a crime for that.
So now all Antifa need to be convicted for their fighting words on their signs? No, I don't actually.
No one would ever call you a fascist. What are you talking about?
No, I just said Antifa, not for calling me that.
That's what I'm saying. If Antifa ever called anyone a fascist, yep, they should all be locked up because that's fighting words. Yep.
Wow.
So yes,
I'm okay with fighting words, by the way, because some people deserve to be slapped.
I think that the government shouldn't be saying, "Oh, if a word makes people angry enough, you should go to jail or get money."
The government's going to be the one protecting you from slapping somebody.
protecting you from slapping it. Okay.
Like
So as a defense.
if you say like something, your mama's so fat.
Yeah.
When I go, well, them's fighting words. Whap. Right.
It's not.
I don't think so, honestly. I don't agree. I don't think that Chud should get off for shooting someone. Wait. Is that the opposite? Oh, wait. Chud is using the...
Richie, my parents taught me when I was a baby that words can hurt me. Sticks and stones, break bones, words can hurt you. You can say things about my mom. I'm not going to be friends with you if you say bad things, but it never justifies being hit. There's
I don't think so
except
either.
a true threat. Like I am going to hit you and I lift my arm to hit you. But that's,
well, with Bonnie's example with Chud.
Not provoke.
Yeah, I don't think that black guy had the right to hit him. So Chud the Builder, sorry about that, is a guy
His
who...
entire brand is provoking people to violence.
Yeah. But my thing about
those
him...
people deserve to get hit.
I think he should go to jail, but it's not... It's not because of... It's not because of anything about fighting words. I actually had that backwards. I think in his case, that black guy did not have the right to hit him, so maybe they should both be in trouble.
Look, there's also the trope that an armed society is a polite society, and that's because if you run your mouth, you get hit. Mm-hmm. So don't run your mouth.
I think
another major aspect of this is if there's a word or if there's a kind of people that if you say a word, it's so likely to provoke them to violence that you can't say the word. That's a heckler's veto, which generally First Amendment jurisprudence does
No,
not.
you can say the word, right? But if you go around saying the word to the people who are going to get offended by the word purposefully to evoke a reaction from them, you ought to be smacked.
Well,
very, very hard.
What if it's just individual things? Like, what if the word bunny irritated me so bad that I was like, everyone knows that word irritates me and I hate you. You know what I mean? Like, well...
Yeah, and if I came around and just went bunny, 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 bunny to provoke you...
I'm just saying you like walk past me and you say it. The thing about Chud,
there's like normative versus legal. You can say normative.
There's harassment.
And I like that fighting words is also legal, right? So that those people who deserve to get hit can get hit, and the person doing the hitting doesn't have to worry necessarily about legal consequences for shutting dumb people up.
It's definitely not protected by the NAP. What you're saying is definitely not, it isn't backed up by the NAP. Like, if you believe that the NAP is how we should live our lives, then what you're saying, in my opinion, it's like, that does not go, those two things do not go together.
Okay.
I think that...
The non-aggression principle.
Yeah, sorry.
Very professional work.
There's issue of equal protection clause that the left loves to tout.
Remotely.
Equal protection under the 14th Amendment, we're all supposed to be treated the same.
But to your point...
That can't be said, specifically by one kind of people, specifically to another kind of people. Only one word in the world cannot be said. So that's very interesting.
I think there's more than one. But
there's the one that we're all not saying.
There's 7 words, right?
There's 7 words we can't say on radio. The word that we're not saying is not one of them. So we could say it if we wanted to, but we're all not for some weird reason that has nothing to do with the First Amendment.
Your life will be destroyed and you might be convicted and go to jail.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Or I'd get a very good following on Twitter.
Get all those likes.
Are they really worth it though? Because like that one girl.
I don't know. Ask NLPH.
In my joke,
or NHLP.
On jokes, I have a whole chapter on jokes. Whether it should be, protected speech if you make a joke and stuff. Comedians. I talk about George Carlin, 7 words, and I talk about a joke by Malcolm X. He actually said a word. I won't repeat it, but he said, "What do you call a black guy with a PhD?" And it's the N word. He says, Malcolm X, a black guy. And I quote that in my book. And someone very close to me who's editing my book said, "Take that out." And I said, "I'm quoting a black guy, and it's a quote in a book about free speech." He said, "You can't write the N word. Your life will be over. You won't get accepted into a bar. You will not have a career."
But lucky for you, if anyone does come after you for it, you can just call them anti-Semitic.
Or you can just use the first letter and put 5 asterisks, and everyone knows what you mean.
Mm-hmm. But isn't it sad, Mark, that I have to self-censor? It's the only word in the world. I say the C word. I say all the worst words in the book. That's the one thing that I probably will have to censor in the book. And it's the one word that you can't say. But it's not for everyone. It's only white people who can't say it. Because obviously black people can say that word. So it's an equal protection clause issue and a First Amendment issue.
Well, then put it in the book, right?
But
like if it's that important, just deal with the consequences.
Is it so important that he wants to lose his lawyer job?
I don't know. What's more important to you, being true to yourself or having money?
It's a tough one, but I'm saying that struggle internally, that shouldn't happen.
Okay.
In the land of the free, right?
They shouldn't be legally. The thing is, they should have the freedom to be offended by hearing the N-word, which is the word we're like dancing around. But I'm not
still
dancing
around it because you said the N-word.
I didn't say I wasn't.
I know.
But I'm just saying that They should have the freedom to be mad about it, but they shouldn't be protected by a government for hitting people for hearing it. But the thing about Chud, to be clear, with
Depends.
my
If you run up to a black dude and it's the only word you're saying at him and he punches you.
No, that's not defended by the NAP. So what I'm saying is should versus like is. What is right now is that
people call me a cracker and a kike and all sorts of horrible things. And as you know, a few years ago, people called me the worst things in the world. I never hit anybody because of it. It's not an excuse.
Well, some of them should have been hit, and you should have been allowed to hit them.
All is on Twitter.
Assault, battery, and wither issues.
And Twitter is
and
worse.
wouldn't it be nice if you had a protection that you could say, like, they were using fighting words, so I hit them?
It's a different world. In other worlds, it would be nice if I were in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's a different world.
I think that'd be a worse world, honestly.
That's the world
I don't
I'm
think,
advocating for.
I think that like something like a duel, like, hey, you said that up to me, and now I would like to fight you, is fine. Not just I go around smacking anyone anytime I'm like too like triggered by a word. That's horrible.
Well, it's a very high threshold for fighting words.
And the N-word is not high enough for it to be like okay according to the NAP.
Do we all agree that if somebody threatens someone else, that you are allowed to preemptively
a credible threat.
do something about it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. My question is this. Hold on, Elu. Just give me a second. Is it possible to be threatening without specifically threatening? Like, so what I mean is do I have to say, Kahuna, I will punch you in your nose in just 5 seconds, and then you have the opportunity to do something about it? Or can I say something so offensive and do it in such an erratic fashion that Kahuna can say to himself, this man is going to punch me in the nose in 5 seconds, and then act?
And that's the thing about Chud. He was actually saying, like, I'm going to pull up on him. Yeah, he was saying he was, like, on the internet, he's like...
What I'm saying is with Chaplinsky, the original case, he was unarmed, under arrest, presumably handcuffed, and said you're a fascist.
Who?
You can't say it's a threat.
The original fighting words case.
Shiloh, she was holding a baby and walking away.
Yeah, she's trying to get away from this dude, so you could not say that she was the one... It's ridiculous. I hate that so much.
There's a bunch of Somali guys and a woman holding a baby. So, you couldn't really say you're scared. It's not that. It's called fighting words, but it's not... It means it's a very offensive thing. That's all they're saying. But regardless, one of the themes in the book is these things are illegal. People say that law doesn't exist. Hate speech is not illegal. It is. Look at the laws. Oh, obscenity is not illegal. Obscenity is. Look at the 50 laws of the states. It says you cannot say something obscene or have something obscene or distribute or have anything obscene.
Well, they also define it as I know it when I see it, so there's no metric to measure it.
Yep.
That's probably.
And it's all arbitrary. And regardless of the other laws, any cop can arrest anyone, and prosecutors can charge you and convict you for disorderly conduct, harassment, obstruction, the other infinitely broad things.
Menacing.
Assault. Menacing. The harassment stuff. I mean, it's so broad. And that happens throughout the book, where one person says anything to another. If they want to charge you for harassment or any disorderly anything, they can easily do it and convict you for words.
Yep, I think that is wrong.
I think they'd have a lot more trouble convicting if people didn't take pleas. Right? Like I've sworn at cops whilst being arrested and didn't get charged for anything and didn't get convicted of swearing at cops whilst being arrested. So,
but put it this way, I read a lot in the book.
But I'm also
about
not black or Jewish.
And they tell cops like F you and they get arrested. They're not convicted of that, but they get arrested for obscenity to a cop and stuff like that. And just being arrested and spending a night in jail, again, I don't know about you, if I'm a night in jail, my life's kind of over because I would lose kind of everything I have.
Okay.
And lose my job. So I can't afford an arrest. The process is the punishment. That's right, and presumed guilty. So even being arrested for cursing at a cop can kind of derail someone's life.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, sucks to structure your life that way where you self-limit yourself on what you can or cannot do legally for fear of losing
But it's not something Olu did to himself. It's the way that the legal system is set up.
Yep. I get it. But he's not going to get convicted. He's just going to get arrested.
He might. Shiloh took it to trial. Shiloh Hendricks just took it to trial, and she got convicted of saying the N-words to somebody she's walking away from.
In the book, I mentioned guys who got convicted of things so bananas that you wouldn't believe it unless you actually saw the court.
One thing I love about Olu's writing...
I've seen a lot of court, things where people are arrested and it comes back on First Amendment grounds, right? Like in most jurisdictions, the cops, are not allowed to arrest you if you swear at them. Like you're allowed to swear at cops. You're allowed to give them the finger. You're allowed to call them whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And they're not supposed to react. And if they react, you're going to get arrested.
You might win in court.
But you might win in court and you might be able to sue afterwards, right? So
one thing I like about
the Supreme Court said cops have to handle being cursed at and stuff because it's part of the job.
Part of the job.
I like how Olu in his books, like Presumed Guilty, the way he writes is like he'll give an example of something, and he'll even put like a number there, and there'll be all the receipts and
footnotes and
footnotes. Yeah, there we go, of where to go look for it. But he has like example after example after example. Like in one sentence, he'll be like, and this, and this happened that like supports what I'm saying. I really like that because it's like tons of little things that like you learn really quickly, like different court cases that you learn about like really quickly. And all examples of like, wow, this happens a lot apparently, because instead of like a lot of, I feel like authors would just say like, and this happens often and give like one example, he gives like a ton of examples in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
It's really great.
But then you got to go read why those convictions did take place against, was it something else entirely, right? Was it that they did take the plea? Right, like we've listened. Me personally, Mark Stevens' method, right, of questioning cops and the whole sovereign citizen movement, right? They could line item example after example after example of them winning in court, and then you look at the case and it's like won on a technicality.
Yeah,
I've won in court more often than most people should, and a lot of them were like technicalities.
Yeah.
Right. We would love to find you guilty, but the cop forgot to bring the evidence, so case dismissed.
So Richie, I agree. You reminded me of another crazy thing. In general, and I spoke to another lawyer just like yesterday about this, and he said I'm right. In general, if the complainant, like the alleged victim, is not in the courtroom, it's almost a 1 in a billion chance to get a conviction. Because if you have a right to face your accuser, a Sixth Amendment issue, and other issues, and there's no one there to actually, that person, Omar, the guy who was filming her, she was convicted
in the
of
Shiloh
saying
Hendricks
the N-word to him. He wasn't there. He was apparently elsewhere. Someone said Somalia, but he was not there.
Whoa.
So he didn't testify. The one alleged victim, and he was still convicted. So, I mean, it was a kangaroo court. As the lawyer, Mark Corrales, or whatever his name is, said like many times, it's a monkey court. He said some other F words about it. It's crazy because the fact that the judge can let a jury convict someone when, like, he should have vacated the conviction or dismissed it. Because
did she actually move for that? Like make a motion for that?
I've been a part of those too, where I've lost. So you win some, lose some.
Oh.
But it's crazy to convict someone without them facing their accuser.
I get it.
It's an issue. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I've been in court, similar situation as the one that was dismissed, where they put the witness on the stand and they go like, "Can you identify the defendant?" And she said, "No, I don't recognize anyone in here." And I went, "Well, motion to have her testimony, thrown out." And the judge said, "Well, she said she couldn't identify you, so it'd be in your best interest to keep it in there." And I went, well, whatever. And then at the end, she goes like, "Well, she testified she didn't know it was you, but it was more than likely you that she was talking about.
Wow.
So we're just going to convict on that." I'm like, "You son of a gun."
Seriously, that's
right.
Disgusting
Like you overruled my motion, gave me legal advice to keep it in, and then remedied your judgment based on the bad advice that you gave me. Rendered your judgment.
Disgusting.
That sounds pretty inappropriate.
It absolutely was, but fine. Guilty, fine, and I walked out and I never paid the fine, and that was the end of it. So, like, who cares?
Yep, I hope that the Shiloh Hendricks lady doesn't. It's just that it's topical. That's why I keep bringing it up. I hope she doesn't pay the fine, and I hope she doesn't end up having to do the 100 day or 90 days or whatever it is.
They're going to appeal.
Yeah, because they're appealing.
90 days suspended. So
it's suspended.
Now
okay, that's good.
Fine. Yeah, if she doesn't pay it, then they'll say it's not good behavior, meaning she will serve the time in jail. So I'm not sure she will have to comply. But
she'll probably pay it just because she's not in New Hampshire anyway.
Well, I've got a bunch of pending fines in Hawaii that they will never collect, and I'm never going to pay, and I spent 0 days in jail because of it.
Nice.
You like to live your life on the edge.
Also because I do what I think is right, and what I want my gravestone to say is "damn the consequences," because I don't worry about what is this going to do? Is this going to affect me later in life or down the road, or will I have a job on Monday? I was like, it's the right thing to do, so I do it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I always try to balance it out. Like, obviously, those who know me know that I'm not really afraid of most things in general, and I stand up for principle. But I have to think about my family as far as if I lose jobs, like my family, my baby and toddler don't eat. So I do have to think about that stuff too. But yeah, I get that. I appreciate that.
I wish that more people lived that way, but the unfortunate thing is that most people will, run into a horrible consequence if they just start doing what's right all the time, because the world we live in is like evil, and the world we live in is based on a system that is evil, and most people are completely propagandized into believing that it's the right way to live. Anything else, Alu?
No, that's all. I'm just hoping everyone picks up the book, Expression. Follow me at Oliver Axelman on X and all the other platforms and everything, and libertyblock.com. So, yeah, feel free to listen to our podcast, too.
LibertyBlock.com, and the new book is Suppression of Expression, How Politicians Violate Our Natural Rights to Free Speech, Press, Religion, and Assembly by Elliot Axelman. It's right here on Amazon. Easiest way to get a book. Thank you for the call, Alu. And we also have another caller online from Virginia. We have Uber George. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. Yeah.
Hello.
Basically, it looks like I almost got completely permanently deactivated from Uber over my registration. What happened is like, okay, they're like, all right, your registration is about to expire at the end of the month. And I got my new one. It came in the mail about just under a week ago, like on Tuesday. I didn't know it at that time when I got the mail, and a lot of it, the rest of it is junk and just ripping and about to toss in the trash. And then I realized I saw the DMV logo on one of them. I'm like, oh crap! I just ripped my new registration in half.
Oh no!
Yeah, I put it together, tape it, take the picture, hope that Uber accepts it. They know, they're like, we can't accept the damaged document. I'm like, I don't want to go back to the DMV, be like, can you print this out for me? I mean, that's gonna take, that's gonna be hell right there. So what I did was I took a picture of it, and then I asked Grok to say, hey, fix this document for me so it doesn't look ripped.
Nice.
Well played.
Did it work?
Yeah, today I just found out that it was accepted.
Yay, nice.
The whole time, a bunch of people were telling me, dude, they're going to, deactivate you for fraud. And I'm just like over here, like, wait a minute, why? It's like it matches everything on the Grok thing still matches what the DMV gave me, all the information.
I mean, like, that's just kind of the ridiculousness of the government IDs, is the fact that, like, you can go to buy something like alcohol and you have a ID, but it's expired. It's like, but this is all a valid ID from the state. Whether or not it expired, it still tells you how old I am. That didn't change.
Back in my day, we had to use a copy machine and whiteout to get rid of those rip marks.
Whiteout.
Oh, wow. Thank you for the call, Uber George. We also have Dana in Michigan. We haven't heard it from you in a while, Dana. What's on your mind?
I know. It's been almost 2 years, Bonnie.
Wow.
Maybe a year and a half. I'll be honest. You haven't asked, but I'm gonna volunteer. Especially on Sunday night. It gets old real quick when you listen to one of your panel members argue just for the sake of arguing. And
must be talking about Mark.
Constantly interrupting, and yes, I am talking about you, Rich. Interrupting, talking over. You can't even get a point out. So I'm just like, whatever. So then a couple of months ago, I started doing some research to see if you guys were still on. And I couldn't get anything, but I was doing research during the week. And is that the music?
Yes, if you can hold, we have more time for you on the last segment. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160 is the phone number to get in after Dana on this next segment. More Free Talk Live coming up. Hey, more Free Talk Live coming up.
Doesn't like you.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs.
As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond these parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann with the Week in Review. New American tariffs of up to 12.5% on 60 of the country's trading partners took effect this week, covering virtually all goods imported into the United States. The duties imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act replace a global 10% tariff that expired on Friday after reaching its statutory time limit, and they are designed to stand on firmer legal ground after the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's earlier tariff regime in February. The administration says that new levies target countries that have failed to prevent goods made with forced labour from entering global trade. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
I'm sure they will be challenged, but this is a slightly stronger legal basis than the way Donald Trump previously tried to introduce tariffs. They're being imposed primarily under Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act.
Andy Burnham was formally appointed British Prime Minister this week by King Charles III, becoming the 7th person to hold the office in just over a decade. In his first speech outside number 10 Downing Street, the new Prime Minister pledged approximately $457 million in new funding to tackle homelessness and promised what he called a circuit breaker for Britain. Ollie Barrett in London says the new Prime Minister used his first Downing Street address to try and inject optimism into his vision for the country, something he and his allies believe was missing under his predecessor.
Andy Burnham trying in that speech outside Downing Street to inject some hope, some optimism, some positivity, not just into his message, but in his vision for the UK in the months and years ahead.
The death toll from the Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo reached 999 earlier this week, with nearly 2,500 confirmed cases recorded since the virus emerged in May. The World Health Organization and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are supporting the DRC government's response, but the outbreak is spreading rapidly across 5 provinces in the east of the country. The DRC's previous deadliest Ebola outbreak, which began in 2018, killed around 2,300 people over 2 years, but the current outbreak has reached comparable levels in just 2 months. Chris Ochimaringa reports from Kinshasa.
Now, the DRC had its worst Ebola outbreak in 2018. That outbreak went on for 2 years, and there were about 2,300 people who died. But this latest outbreak, which is caused by a rare strain known as Bundibugyo, has only gone on for 2 months, and we are told that there are now 1,000 people who have died. So that has caused a lot of concern in the DRC.
And finally this week, the European Union has reached agreement on a 21st Russian sanctions package. It's a watered-down measure amid concerns from Greece over the economic impact of a full ban on the transport of Russian liquefied natural gas. From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann, and that was the Week in Review.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live Talk Radio you control, which means you can call the phone number 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation with us. You can tell us we're wrong. You can change the subject. It's up to you because it's Free Talk Live. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Kahuna.
Rich.
And Mark Edge, remotely.
And it's been a great show tonight because we've had a lot of callers. Like, it's definitely way more fun and worthwhile thing to do when we have lots of callers. So let's go right to the phones and to the fun. We have Dana in Michigan on Free Talk Live. Dana, you were just starting to get to your point, I think, whenever the bumper music started, and I pretty much couldn't hear what you said. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was saying that well, I already told you that I just lost interest after constantly being shut down, talked over, and especially with someone that dispenses inaccurate information. Not inaccurate because it disagrees with my opinion, inaccurate because some of it is just not factual And that gets old after a while. A conversation, yeah, you're going to jump in every once in a while, but when you're constantly over talking and bullying, the callers, and I don't back down easy. I wasn't intimidated. I was just irritated. So there's a big
But you took a year and a half off from the fight.
Yeah, okay. I did because what's the point of calling when Rich won't shut up? And every other word is right. And I called him out on this multiple times. It actually takes away from your credibility when you end that. That was the thing the millennials started. It was it was the verbal version of when a salesperson is standing in front of you, these life coaches or whatever, and they're nodding their head up and down to get the group to agree with them so that they'll buy whatever they're pitching. So
that's why I do it.
Started saying they're millennials, and I know you told me that before.
Yeah.
But
so calling me out on it again isn't going to change anything, right?
Do you agree with her point if she's saying?
Let me finish. It lasted through the Obama years, unfortunately, and a little bit of Trump, and it just became grammatically not cool as well as incorrect. You don't rise in intonation and have a sentence and then a question every single statement. It's just
Can you agree with Dana in the point that it makes other people not it doesn't have the effect anymore when people have got onto the idea, like Skeeter does it. Skeeter's always saying blah blah blah, right?
And
it's
you'll notice when Skeeter does it, I cut him off immediately and disagree because that's the time to do it, right?
Yep, you do have the ability to disagree back.
Because the purpose of saying right is to get buy-in with whomever you're having the conversation with. And
that's exactly what I just said.
Yeah, and you're right.
Right.
And the reason to do it on the radio and nod my head on the camera is because as we're having this conversation, before I can build upon a point, I need to make sure that we're bought into the point that I'm making. So when Skeeter does it and we're not bought into the point, I interrupt, I cut him off, I say we're not bought into that point, we got to work through this, and then we move on. But if I say right and no one goes no, that's the worst thing I've ever heard, then I can build upon that because we're in agreement, and then we move on.
But do you say that you are trying to do that with true information, at least? Because I've never thought differently about you.
Unless I'm purposefully playing the devil's advocate,
which I feel you do once in a while.
Once in a while, when we all agree on something, the only way to move the show and make it entertaining is someone has to disagree and fight for a position. The circle jerk, the libertarian circle jerk is not all that much fun or entertaining either.
Here, this is what I'm talking about. You just proved my point. We've done how long listening to him defend himself or making his point.
Bonnie asked me a question.
You keep interrupting. There's an old saying. My mother handed it down from her parents. Skunk never smells their own stink. You call Skeeter out for the very thing you do. You think that you're getting biased. You're doing it so habitually, you don't realize how irritating it is. I have to talk to someone that's an intellectual. I can't do this millennial BS. I just can't. So that being said,
if you disagree, that's when you call in. And you say no.
But I do think that we did get to the end of the arguing we could get to about this point. Dana, did you actually have a main topic you wanted to call in about?
I called for something else.
Okay.
So a couple of months ago, I did it during the week, and I was researching to see if you guys were even still on. I know it was recorded Monday through Friday, but I was trying to see if you were live. And the way the Google searches were coming back, it's all it was showing, all it was pulling was 4 or 5 days previously recorded. So I thought, well, they're doing something somewhere, but it didn't come back. Not even that stupid Google AI, generated thing saying that you guys were still in business. It said, yes, they're still doing the show, but not how. And I was trying to see if you were live on Saturday and Sunday. And I got to say this, no disrespect to you, Bonnie, because I told you about 3 years ago, I couldn't stand you the first time I talked to you. You were so you just were not well read. And I told you about 3 years ago, I complimented you on air. You have come. It's a whole 180-degree turn. It is a pleasure listening to you. That being said, and here's where I come to Mark. I see his little face on that screen, and I just love seeing Mark, the voice of reason. But I so miss Mark and Ian every Saturday. I know that's not going to happen for a while, but I miss it so much. But I did try to find you guys, not in the past year and a half, but in the past couple of months. And I just wanted you to know it's not, the Google feedback is not letting anyone know that there's a live show still from 7 to 10 Eastern time on Saturday and Sunday. So I called to give a shout out to Mark. I always love seeing him. A shout out to you, Bonnie. And this guy at the end of the table, he sounds like another Mark, like a voice of reason. I'm glad.
Thank you.
I don't know.
She just likes old people.
Oh,
you just call me old.
Are fighting words, bro.
Yeah, see, those are fighting words. And I'm not.
She already said, I don't like this millennial thing, but I like the two older gentlemen as the voice of reason.
I would love to pop you one right in the nose. Then.
Is that a
And
threat?
hey,
Is them fighting words?
No, it's not a credible
Can I
threat.
pop her back?
It's not a credible threat. I really don't think so. But Dana, thank you for the call. I did have to cut it there because we do have another caller on the line, and I didn't want to give another person not enough time to get their point out before the bumper music again. We have David in New Mexico on Free Talk Live. David, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Frying pan into the fryer.
Right, Richie. Right. Hey, Richie, you like crypto?
I do.
What you investing in? What you trading?
I'm the Bitcoin maxi at the table.
Oh.
All right. So what's your action? What you doing with Bitcoin?
I'm buying it and hodling it whenever I have the opportunity.
Okay. So how come you don't trade it? How come you don't buy it when it's low and then sell it when it goes up and then buy it back again?
Because
that way-
I know that I'm not smart enough to time the market, and I know I'm too lazy to keep up on any sort of that activity.
Well, why don't you seek professional help in more ways than one? But I mean, talking about crypto, you could buy some professional help, and then you could do it, and you wouldn't be too dumb anymore.
Well, I mean, what sort of professional help are you suggesting?
Well, I mean, besides a psychiatrist.
I mean, like I said, I don't think I'm smart enough to time the market. Are you saying that there are people smart enough to time the market?
Like those AI things that are we're trading for you. Is that what you mean, David?
Well, there's everything under the sun, but no, you could do it with real human beings that actually know what they're doing, and they're not really timing the market. It's a science. I mean, it's a complete science. I've been studying it literally full time for 2.5 years. And
Are you doing the day trading?
I am.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well at what I'm doing.
Okay. And what are you doing that's doing well?
Are you offering me your services then?
No, I wouldn't. As much as I hate you, Richie, I wouldn't make you suffer by getting my services. I would recommend somebody much better than I, which is basically everybody, and they would provide their services.
Okay.
So anyway, but I was just curious, and I was going to ask Mark the same thing. You know, what you do in the financial markets. I mean, I know you had Bitcoin, and I know it went up, and I know you do what you do with that. But are you what else are you doing? Are you like Richie and just hodling, whatever, or are you actively working to grow that by trading in a smart manner?
The feds asked him to ask you, by the way, Mark.
Sure.
Yeah, no, the feds didn't know, Bonnie. I am the Fed. They don't have to ask.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn it, I just blew my cover.
The problem is not every trade is profitable, right? So if you do that, you might take a loss.
I didn't let Mark answer. Sorry.
That's why you only take the profitable trades, Richie. That's part of the system of being smart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So sorry, I don't have insider information like your politicians do.
If you're one of those people who does have crypto and has had it for a long time, you might be interested in emailing me at salt@markedge.org. And what I do is I help people access the value within their cryptocurrency tax-free in order to be able to take collateralized loans against their crypto. And, they can do some trading and that sort of thing, if that's what you want to do. Now, I would advise you that fewer than 25% of people who trade crypto consistently make money doing it. So it's a trick, and it's not a trick that I generally do. What I do is I look for projects that I think are...
It's science, according to David.
Well, it could be. I look for projects that I think are going to go up, and I go from there. And right now, I'm bullish on privacy coins, keeping an eye on those things. I don't know whether Bitcoin has legs in it. Maybe it does. I don't know. But I can tell you that for the last if I'd have sold Bitcoin 5 years ago, all the Bitcoin that I manage, I'm not claiming to own any Bitcoin. All the Bitcoin that I manage would have then, sold it into the stock market. I'd be up at this point.
Well, we have another Michigander on the line. Thanks for the call, David from New Mexico. We have Chad in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I'm just calling in to talk about MPLS coming up in the next couple weeks here.
What is that?
The Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival at Lake Satoshi in Michigan. And actually, this upcoming weekend, there is a Bitcoin festival going on there.
At the same Lake Satoshi spot?
Yes, and they've been doing this for, I think, 4 years now.
Probably going to outdo PorcFest this time.
True.
Probably. I mean, they're expecting 200 to 300 people for the Bitcoin festival. And it's at a private campground that's owned by a guy who it's a limestone quarry. So he quarries it and then he fills it up with water during summer. And that
sounds expensive.
There.
Wow.
Sounds like a good swimming experience.
Yeah, sounds clean. And you don't have to be like, oh, what if there's a freshwater eel in here going to electrocute me or something?
I don't think I've ever been concerned about
that. Until now.
I don't think, it's going to be pretty
saltwater
safe.
eel, maybe.
So yeah, it's going to be, actually, they're allowing people to camp there for the whole span between the 2 weekends as well. And there's a bunch of RV hookups. It's going to be really cool. I'm going to be vending there during MPLF too. So
what event?
The Bitcoin retreat is the 31st through the 2nd. And if you go to lakesatoshi.com, they have all the information on there that you would need. And then mplfest.org is the website for the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival that will be the next weekend.
And what do you vend, Chad, the Sandwich King?
Oh, well.
I'll be vending
as if that was obvious information.
Well, at PorcFest I did tacos, but I will be vending sandwiches for MPLF.
Nice.
But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of cool like-minded people. I know the Bitcoin festival is going to be really big. They're, like I said, they're expecting 200 or 300 people.
And how long
relatively speaking, it's big.
How long has MPLF been going on?
MPLF, I believe we're in the 16th year this year, so quite a while. And it was inspired by PorcFest.
Awesome. Has anybody ever?
People.
You guys planning a decentralized Midwest Peace and Liberty Fest that spans the entire state of Michigan in the future?
Absolutely not. No, this is going to be a centralized event.
Yeah, much bigger state too. Just drive up to the little top peninsula thing, and then the next day you're in Detroit, and the next day you're in Grand Falls or whatever it's called.
Yeah, no, they're not doing that. But I wanted to give it a shout out because I think a lot of people should come out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's going to be a lot of like-minded people there, and it's a completely private campground.
And no eels.
So,
But can you get naked at the campground?
Actually, I don't know. But
okay.
He hesitated.
You didn't ask?
That was the big sticking point with PorcFest and ForkFest.
Right.
They really kept the attendance down.
No, I don't think so.
Better than other things being
other
up.
things that kept the attendance down. Probably the whole FSP counter programming, the ForkFest.
The ForkFest still did better than them, to be fair. I don't think any ForkFest location at any one point had more people there than, or any PorcFest location at any point had more people at their location than ForkFest.
That was my assumption, having seen all the pictures.
Right. They would have posted them. They're asking me to use my pictures. And I let them.
Yeah, probably not, but
everyone's mad at me for it.
You know, we Jay Noon, dropped out so that he could come to or do the PorcFest thing, and I mean there were quite a few people, so I was a little disappointed in that because I really would have liked to offset it from whatever they were doing for PorcFest, but it is what it is. It happened, but I had a lot of fun. It was awesome.
Right, this ForkFest was my favorite ForkFest I've ever been to.
Oh yeah, I had a blast. It was a lot of fun, and these events happening in the next couple weeks here in Michigan are going to be awesome too. So
do you have a website for it, for MPLF?
Yeah, so it's mplfest.org for the MPLF, the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. The weekend before, which is next weekend, is the Lake Satoshi Retreat, which is 31st through August 2nd. And then they're allowing people to camp in the interim week. So it's a private campground. Typically, the guy who owns it lives there. He runs his business out of there, so you can't just go camp there whenever you want. But they have RV hookups with water and electricity. There aren't any sewage hookups, but they do have water and electricity there. And it's a big property with a really nice private lake. So if people want to come out, I mean, it's going to be a blast.
I met Tracy, who is like one of the people running it this year at Anarchon when she came with you. She is so nice. She added me to the MPLF chats on Telegram and such, and everybody seems like really high vibes, friendly people, which just sounds like the Midwest in general.
Yeah, no, it's great. Tracy's a very good friend of mine, and she's been an instrumental part of the so the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival is put on by the Michigan Peace and Liberty Conference. Okay, so the MPLC is their, and I guess my sort of group of friends that are around Michigan. We do have people that are from Ohio and Indiana and stuff that are a part of it, but mostly centered in Michigan. And I mean,
it's nice to have a festival where all these like-minded individuals gather, but I mean, the Free State Project, the FSP, like the goal is to move libertarians to New Hampshire. Right?
Sounds like you need to run a booth there.
You can go snipe some of their...
Sure, but my question is, like, what are the prospects of liberty in the Midwest? What do you see? What is your prediction of the future? Is it worth, you like the festival? Is it worth moving to Michigan or Ohio or whatever? No,
if you're going to migrate somewhere if you can leave the state that you're in, you need to go to New Hampshire. But there does need to be, I think, for people who are not able to move for one reason or another, I think that an small
outpost
FSP needs to occur in every state so that people can live near each other and participate in an agora
and just know each other at all instead of like not realizing that there's libertarians around you. I could totally agree with that exact outlook. Like people who just cannot move and aren't planning to make it a second like New Hampshire, because that kind of makes no sense.
It defeats the purpose.
Exactly, it defeats the purpose.
You couldn't even do it. There's no way. Like Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, there's absolutely no way that you're going to get something as powerful as the Free State Project. However, you can congregate, you can, participate in an agora, with like-minded people if you just get to know each other,
Yeah. I always thought that there should be an FSP rep, like a designated paid rep in the space, in the states like that, where their paid function is to get people to move who can make the move, right?
Yeah, and otherwise to network, and so like a Free State Project embassy.
Yeah, that works.
Right?
Nice.
Like have a clubhouse where people can get together, and people who are able to can move to New Hampshire, and otherwise that you can network within your own state, because people need to be able to get together and participate in a free market. I mean, that's outside of the scope of the government, if it's possible to do that. And, this facilitates that. And having a little festival definitely helps it.
I love that idea of an embassy, especially if there's like one person there.
Send an ambassador.
Right. There's a person that already lives in whatever. Maybe it's even just regions because the FSP doesn't have that much money. So there's one person in the region of the Midwest, and they are somebody who cannot move or isn't going to move, and they support what the FSP is doing. You just have to have those two things. Yeah. And it might seem a little counterintuitive. Like some people might be like, we're trying to grow our community. And so you'd probably have a lot of pushback internally there. I'm not saying necessarily Midwest specifically, but like wherever you are, that's likely to happen. Like people would think
it'll be sad when people move to New Hampshire from your little libertarian community, but at the same time, like figure your stuff out and and get over what's holding you back, whatever it may be.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. But there are multiple people that I know that want to move to New Hampshire, and I would encourage them to do so, because you're not going to find another agora that has the depth that you can find in New Hampshire. I know it started out as like an electoral process, where libertarians are trying to win elections, but what ended up evolving is this network of people who are freedom-minded to interact with each other, and that is really the powerful tool, that I see there. Not that if there's anywhere to worry about elections, it is New Hampshire. In Michigan, there's not very good prospects for freedom-minded people.
Yeah, I didn't even know who my representatives were when I lived in San Antonio. There was no point in paying attention to any of that. Thank you for the call, and people can go to mplfest.org for more information on Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. And thank you for listening to Free Talk Live. More Free Talk Live at freetalklive.com. Thanks for listening. Peace.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live listen line, 641-793-0191.
Coming up next after the news, Hour 1 of the latest episode of Free Talk Live here at listen.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann with the Week in Review. New American tariffs of up to 12.5% on 60 of the country's trading partners took effect this week, covering virtually all goods imported into the United States. The duties imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act replace a global 10% tariff that expired on Friday after reaching its statutory time limit, and they are designed to stand on firmer legal ground after the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's earlier tariff regime in February. The administration says that new levies target countries that have failed to prevent goods made with forced labour from entering global trade. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
I'm sure they will be challenged, but this is a slightly stronger legal basis than the way Donald Trump previously tried to introduce tariffs. They're being imposed primarily under Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act.
Andy Burnham was formally appointed British Prime Minister this week by King Charles III, becoming the 7th person to hold the office in just over a decade. In his first speech outside number 10 Downing Street, the new Prime Minister pledged approximately $457 million in new funding to tackle homelessness and promised what he called a circuit breaker for Britain. Ollie Barrett in London says the new Prime Minister used his first Downing Street address to try and inject optimism into his vision for the country, something he and his allies believe was missing under his predecessor.
Andy Burnham trying in that speech outside Downing Street to inject some hope, some optimism, some positivity, not just into his message, but in his vision for the UK in the months and years ahead. He and those around him feel that that was sorely lacking.
The death toll from the Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo reached 999 earlier this week, with nearly 2,500 confirmed cases recorded since the virus emerged in May. The World Health Organization and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are supporting the DRC government's response, but the outbreak is spreading rapidly across 5 provinces in the east of the country. The DRC's previous deadliest Ebola outbreak, which began in 2018, killed around 2,300 people over 2 years, but the current outbreak has reached comparable levels in just 2 months. Chris Ochimaringa reports from Kinshasa.
Now, the DRC had its worst Ebola outbreak in 2018. That outbreak went on for 2 years, and there were about 2,300 people who died. But this latest outbreak, which is caused by a rare strain known as Bundibugyo, has only gone on for 2 months, and we are told that there are now 1,000 people who have died. So that has caused a lot of concern in the DRC and the neighboring countries.
Protesters gathered across India on Friday as the youth-led Cockroach Janta Party has called for demonstrations in every district demanding the resignation of the Education Minister over the NEET exam paper leak scandal. The Indian government has deployed 20 companies of Central Reserve Police to the capital, and Delhi Metro has shut at least 16 stations as crowds swell near the main protest site at Jantar Mantar. The movement has rejected the government's offer of talks, saying its core demand for the minister's removal has not been addressed. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The numbers at Jantar Mantar, which is just a few meters away from where I am, they are starting to swell up again, and this comes as the Cockroach Janata Party, which is the youth-led movement, they have called for a nationwide protest against the question of paper leaks, but also mainly demanding the resignation of India's education minister. They have released pamphlets to their supporters online saying that in every district of India they should be organizing some kind of demonstration, and they've also published a list of so-called do's and don'ts, what to do during a protest, emphasizing that the protests need to remain peaceful.
And finally, the European Union has reached agreement on a 21st Russian sanctions package. It's a watered-down measure amid concerns from Greece over the economic impact of a full ban on the transport of Russian liquefied natural gas. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
The EU's Foreign Affairs Chief Kaja Kallas has described the sanctions package as the largest in the 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. 218 listings in total, including banks, crypto operators, shadow fleet vessels and military industrial entities. This 21st sanctions package was floated in early June, but's been held up amid concerns from Athens over a ban on the transport of Russian LNG. A compromise has been reached. An oil price cap set by the G7 is set to be in place for another year. but exemptions are in effect for companies seeking to transport Russian energy to third nations. Formal approval is still needed from the EU's 27 member states.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm Mitch McCann, and that was the Week in Review.
To help you understand how dangerous narcotics operations have persisted despite decades of bold efforts to completely mishandle the problem, we now present The Onion Explains, the drug trade. The cartels remain as powerful as ever. Experts say that the only solution is to eliminate the demand for illegal drugs by instead getting buzzed on common household products, like cough syrup. Not only do items such as nail polish remover and model glue get you ripped if you really breathe that in, they also help shrink the market for cartel drugs. Cartels would stand to lose billions if even a third of the people using their cocaine or methamphetamine instead huffed Freon, which will knock you right on your ass just as quickly. It's easy to get by cracking open an air conditioner. If enough people realize that keyboard cleaner will put you in a insane trance and that it's just sitting there right now in your desk drawer, the costly war on drugs could very well end tomorrow.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
Some of you have wanted to support Free Talk Live's mission on a monthly basis, but don't want to support Patreon. Now we have an alternative that also helps our premier streaming platform, Odyssey. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join at the top of the channel. You can subscribe for $5 per month, and unlike other subscription services, Odyssey adds their processing fee on top, so it'll cost a little over $5 per month, but Free Talk Live will receive the entire amount you pledged. Higher donation tiers are available if you're feeling so inspired. You'll get a special membership badge that's visible in the Odyssey chat room, and if we get enough supporters, we may enable members-only chat. This new subscription method is a great way to decentralize our direct listener support away from just Patreon and also support a libertarian-run business, Odyssey. Please visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join to subscribe to our Odyssey channel and help support spreading our message around the planet. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join today. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archive.